One day before going abroad to study, my childhood sweetheart warned me not to date, not to get into fights, not to skip classes. Then she stuffed a piece of paper into my hand, telling me to open it when I missed her. On it was written, "Wait for you to come back, we will get married." But during the years I was abroad, I was bound to a system which told me that my fiancé was taking care of a boy who looked just like me. According to the plot's development, by the time I returned, the female lead would have fallen for him so deeply she couldn't pull away. Even our close friends and relatives would side with him and criticize me, while I, on the other hand, would become the one who shouldn't have appeared. So I decided not to return to the country for the time being, holding art exhibitions abroad, socializing with masters, and constantly currying favor with several senior figures so that they would willingly promote my work. And it only took me less than 5 months to promote myself into a rising star in the art world. Moreover, I simultaneously received invitations and commissions from the big shots in the industry. My personal value immediately increased several dozen times. The system couldn't stay calm anymore. Shouldn't you be going back to the country? The host should have discovered the male lead by now. I looked at my watch and asked the system if the male and female leads were together yet. After receiving a negative answer from the system, I frowned. If I don't go back, can't they advance the plot on their own? I've already given them the chance. Shentangning saw the media report about me and frowned slightly. She knocked on Gu Yueting's office door. Shentangning handed her the tablet. On it was the news of me shining abroad. Didn't Jiang Haoming say he was coming back soon? Why is he developing his career abroad now? Could it be that he found out about you and Song Jinxing, so he's not planning to come back? Looking at my picture and hearing Song Jinxing's name, Gu Yueting felt a flash of guilt. She put down the tablet. Impossible. Unless you guys sold me out? Shentangning punched her lightly. Sell you out? You did such a terrible thing. We all helped you hide it, and you say we sold you out? Did you forget that Jiang Haoming is also my friend? Gu Yueting, don't you realize your own problem? In recent months, you barely seemed to contact him. Before, he would always complain to you about things over there, and occasionally video call you. But recently, there's been nothing. What exactly is going on between you and Song Jinxing? If Jiang Haoming finds out, he probably won't come back, right? Hearing this, Gu Yueting couldn't help but panic. Of course, she wanted me to come back. Thinking of this, she hurriedly sent me a message, asking when I was coming back. Don't forget it was still early morning on my side. Seeing Gu Yueting like this, Shentangning was a little angry. You better hurry up and, while Jiang Haoming isn't back yet, deal with Song Jinxing. Otherwise, what will you do later? I know my limits. You know your limits? When those two meet, tell me, who will you choose? Shentangning glared at her. If you get caught, I'd like to see how you handle it. Shentangning, Gu Yueting, and I were all university classmates. We all met around the same time. Shentangning could be considered a witness to our love. She was a mutual friend to both of us. After graduation, Shentangning and Gu Yueting started a company together. Their business was doing quite well. Naturally, their sisterly bond was very deep. But ever since I went abroad, Shentangning felt that Gu Yueting had become very strange. Especially the matter of keeping a male university student, she found it particularly incomprehensible. Gu Yueting even brought this person to her. She felt it was unfair to me and at the same time pitied Song Jinxing. My career over there had developed quite well, and I had successfully gilded myself. So in an interview, I told everyone that I was coming back to the country soon. The system looked at me, feeling this was especially like an eagle telling a chick, "I'm coming to get you." As soon as Shentangning saw this news, she took the initiative to find Song Jinxing. Why are you here? Song Jinxing was working in a coffee shop. His mother was sick and had to be hospitalized, requiring a lot of money. Although Gu Yueting had helped him pay for it, Song Jinxing didn't want to be indebted to her, so he was always working part-time jobs in various places, wanting to pay back all that money. Shentangning ordered a cup of coffee. There weren't many people at this time, so she started talking to Song Jinxing. Song Jinxing, leave Gu Yueting. Song Jinxing was stunned. He lowered his head, the rims of his eyes slightly red. I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I have no other choice. I need money. Shentangning quickly said, I'll help you. I can give you money. If you don't feel right about it, just consider it a loan from me. You can pay me back later. I guarantee your mother can still receive good treatment. Song Jinxing clutched his apron tightly. No. Sister Shentangning, I know you're a good person, but I can't accept your money. Shentangning was a bit impatient. She didn't understand why Song Jinxing was refusing her. Then you can accept Gu Yueting's money? Song Jinxing looked up, his expression as if he had been insulted, glaring at Shentangning. Shentangning sighed. I didn't mean it that way. But you should understand, Gu Yueting. She already has a boyfriend. They love each other very much. What does it make you, getting in between them like this? Song Jinxing bit his lip tightly, his face pale. I know I'm wrong, but I have no other choice. I can leave her. I told you I can help you, Song Jinxing. I can help you. What Gu Yueting does for you, I can do for you too, but you don't have to be kept by someone else. Wouldn't that be better? Song Jinxing lowered his head, forcefully wringing his apron. He didn't know that when Shentangning offered to lend him money, he should have been happy, but he didn't want to leave Gu Yueting. Shentangning watched for a moment, then suddenly asked, Don't tell me you've fallen for Gu Yueting? Song Jinxing immediately shook his head. No, I haven't. How could I like her? I haven't. I really haven't. Shen Tangning said nothing. Song Jinxing hurriedly grabbed Shen Tangning's hand. Sister Shen Tangning, I know you're very kind, but I already owe Gu Yueting so much. I can owe you any more. I know Gu Yueting only sees me as a replacement. I won't have any other ideas, believe me. Looking at the pitiful man in front of her, Shen Tangning's heart was a little moved. But she still let go of Song Jinxing's hand. Zhang Haoming is coming back soon. Song Jinxing, think it over carefully yourself. Song Jinxing stood frozen on the spot. Of course he knew who Zhang Haoming was. The name Gu Yueting would call out when she was drunk, a matter he couldn't touch. The person who, just by appearing, would make Gu Yueting leave him immediately. That was Gu Yueting's fiancé. Gu Yueting, of course, also saw my interview and knew I was coming back soon. At the same time, she also thought of Shen Tangning's words, so she arranged to meet Song Jinxing right at the apartment she had given to Song Jinxing. Song Jinxing had already cooked dinner, happily waiting for Gu Yueting to come find him. When she arrived, he saw her hand him a contract, saying she wanted to end their relationship. I will give you a sum of money as agreed. This apartment is also yours. From now on, don't appear in front of me again. Our relationship ends here. I'll make proper arrangements with the hospital. You don't need to worry. Song Jinxing clenched the contract in his hand, his eyes filled with tears. He asked resentfully, why? Gu Yueting spoke without any hesitation. He's coming back soon. Song Jinxing felt as if his heart was bleeding. His 2 years, she didn't have a single shred of reluctance to let go. Was he really just a substitute? Gu Yueting saw he said nothing, frowned slightly, and was a little impatient, wanting to leave. Song Jinxing hurriedly grabbed her sleeve, looking up at her pitifully. Can you grant my final request? Gu Yueting said nothing, but she didn't pull away either. Song Jinxing's voice was very soft, and he spoke with a slight sob. I want to celebrate your birthday one more time, okay? Gu Yueting thought for a moment. Her birthday was next week, and I wouldn't be back until next month. It seemed like it wouldn't affect anything. So she agreed. Song Jinxing happily prepared for the birthday party. First, he booked a KTV room and decorated it all by himself. He also invited all of Gu Yueting's friends to attend. Song Jinxing told himself, after this birthday, he would leave completely, take his mother back to his hometown so that Gu Yueting would never find him again. The birthday party was crowded, and it was all Gu Yueting's friends. Naturally, she wouldn't show any displeasure. Song Jinxing sat beside her like a host entertaining guests. She didn't notice anything, but Shen Tangning's expression next to her wasn't very good. Just as it was time to blow out the candles, everyone started shouting, kiss, kiss, hurry up and kiss. Song Jinxing's face turned beet red, and he shyly lowered his head. Gu Yueting found it boring. Although she had brought him here, they had never even held hands. How could she possibly kiss him? The guys teased deliberately, hurry up and kiss. Xiao Gu is getting shy. That's right. Gu Yueting looked down at Song Jinxing standing beside her, a white suit, blushing face, and suddenly she found him very cute, feeling a little moved. Song Jinxing looked up at Gu Yueting, and the atmosphere between them suddenly became ambiguous. Just then, the door to the room was pushed open, and I walked in, also in a suit. Oh, am I late? Because they were preparing to blow out the candles, there was no music playing in the room. Hearing the voice, everyone turned their heads to look. Instantly, the ambiguity turned into awkwardness and anticipation. Their gazes shifted back and forth between me and Song Jinxing. The difference between the real person and the substitute was indeed very clear. Looking at Song Jinxing, one saw innocent and cute, but looking at me, one saw dignity, charisma, and elegance. Everyone was enjoying the drama, while also criticizing Gu Yueting's poor taste. How do these two look alike when placed side by side? I first glanced at Gu Yueting, assessing the female lead's appearance, much more mature than the person in my memory. Then I looked at the male lead and couldn't help but smile. Another White Lotus type, but he really did resemble the original host. During this time, I had merged my own aura with the original host's. Coupled with the years the original host spent honing himself abroad, he had become even more elegant and dignified. Now, they didn't look alike anymore. Seeing that no one was speaking, I raised an eyebrow. What's wrong? Am I not welcome? Before I finished speaking, I was pulled into an embrace. I looked over the person's shoulder and saw that Gu Yueting's spot was now empty. My gaze only met Song Jinxing's pained face. Gu Yueting wished she could melt the person before her into her very bones. She didn't know how much she had missed me. Everyone watching this scene felt even more awkward. The men huddled together, whispering. Their gazes towards Song Jinxing were filled with contempt and mockery. Song Jinxing's face had turned deathly pale. He could barely stand. He took a few steps back and was caught by Shen Tangning. We didn't come here to see a public display of affection, you know. Yeah, Gu Yueting, if you want to be lovey-dovey, do it at home. What else? A few friends teased. Gu Yueting let go of me, and seeing my face, her eyes were filled with excitement and affection. Hearing their words, she actually took my hand, preparing to leave. Really leaving? Don't. It was so hard to get out. Besides, we want to see Zhang Haoming too. It's been a long time. That's right. You can't have him all to yourself. As they spoke, they moved forward and pulled me out of Gu Yueting's arms, then started asking me questions one by one. I smiled and answered everyone's questions. After talking to each person, I happened to be pushed in front of Shen Tangning. I looked at her and smiled, opening my arms wide. Old Shen. Shen Tangning watched me approach, her mind in a daze. I raised an eyebrow in dissatisfaction. What's wrong, old Shen? Not even a hug? Hearing the familiar address, Shen Tangning laughed and reached out to hug me. Tilting my head, I smelled a floral scent. I held her tightly, burying my head in Shen Tangning's embrace, and whispered, I really missed you. Shen Tangning froze and looked up in a bit of a panic, seeing everyone around them smiling and watching. With no other strange reactions, she couldn't help but wonder if she had misheard. Gu Yueting saw them hugging without letting go, frowned slightly, and walked over, pulling me out of Shen Tangning's arms. A hug to catch up is enough. Feeling the emptiness in her arms, Shen Tangning clenched her fists, feeling a bit unaccustomed to it. Ooh, someone's jealous. Gu Yueting, your jealous look is so unsightly. Gu Yueting glared at them, said nothing, and just held me tightly, very possessively. I smiled, listening to their teasing, but my gaze was on the male lead, who was on the verge of tears. I've never met this friend before. At this point, I looked towards everyone, waiting for an introduction. The originally happy atmosphere suddenly turned cold. Everyone looked away a little awkwardly. Only a few guys seemed to be enjoying the drama, looking at me meaningfully. Seeing this, I turned to look at Gu Yueting, with an innocent and trusting expression. Gu Yueting met my gaze, her heart filled with guilt and unease. She turned her head to look at Shen Tangning. Shen Tangning had taken Song Jinxing into her arms, her expression not quite natural. He's my boyfriend. When I heard this, my eyes widened. Old Shen, you have a boyfriend? Shen Tangning let go of Song Jinxing and tapped my forehead lightly. What nonsense are you talking? I smiled and extended my hand to Song Jinxing. Hello, I'm Jiang Haoming, Gu Yueting's boyfriend. Song Jinxing looked at the fair, smooth hand in front of him and self-consciously extended his own calloused hand. Song Jinxing. I shook his hand. My eyes casually sized up Song Jinxing from head to toe. No need to be so formal. Everyone here is a good friend. Old Shen and I have known each other since university for almost 7 or 8 years, Shen Tangning chimed in. It's been almost 9 years. You've been abroad for so long you don't even remember. I smiled faintly. Why do you sound so resentful? Weren't you all very supportive of me at the beginning? The slightly coquettish tone made Shen Tangning's heart flutter. She thought again of what I had said earlier. I continued speaking to Song Jinxing. I didn't expect you to like white suits too. Our tastes must be quite similar. Let's go to an internet cafe together next time. Seeing my innocent act, friends all turned their faces away, afraid they wouldn't be able to stop themselves from blurting out the truth. Gu Yueting saw me keep interacting with Song Jinxing, and she wasn't happy about it. She quickly pulled me to sit beside her and whispered to me, Where's my birthday present? I tilted my head and teased. I've already come back early. Isn't that a birthday present? Hearing this, Gu Yueting laughed and said, It is a present. The others also sat down. Seeing the affectionate display between Gu Yueting and me, and then looking at Song Jinxing beside them, they couldn't help but frown. Halfway through, I went to the restroom. Gu Yueting looked towards Song Jinxing, who hadn't said a word this whole time. You should go. Song Jinxing had thought he couldn't be more heartbroken, but he didn't expect a single sentence from Gu Yueting to plunge him into misery. He spoke with a sense of grievance. You promised me. Gu Yueting said nothing. Right now, nothing was more important than Jiang Haoming. From her expression, Song Jinxing understood her thoughts. He said with a cold laugh, Now that you've seen him, nothing else is as important as him, right? Gu Yueting used her silence to express her attitude. Tears streamed down Song Jinxing's face. The friends beside them also started to persuade him. Song Jinxing, you should go home first. Otherwise, if Jiang Haoming sees you later. Song Jinxing's face was pale. He had actually considered these people his friends, because they were Gu Yueting's friends. Every time, he treated them sincerely, remembered each of their birthdays, and would prepare gifts for them. As a result, as soon as Jiang Haoming returned, they all told him to leave. I'm not leaving. You promised me that you would let me celebrate this birthday with you. Song Jinxing gritted his teeth and stuck to his decision. Gu Yueting frowned. I don't need you to celebrate my birthday with me. Song Jinxing tearfully questioned her. But for the past 2 years, it was me who celebrated with you. Now I only have one wish. I just want to celebrate this final birthday with you. Is that not allowed either? You already promised me. One of the guys couldn't help but speak up. Come on, don't be so disgraceful. The real one is back. Who wants a substitute like you anymore? Another guy also spoke up, mocking Song Jinxing. You should take a look at yourself. How can you compare to the real thing? Don't you own a mirror? Thinking you can turn from an ugly duckling into a swan. We told you to leave, but you're stubbornly staying. Such an unsightly appearance. Hearing these words, Song Jinxing looked at Gu Yueting with grievance. But although Gu Yueting frowned, she didn't say anything at all. Song Jinxing's heart was completely shattered. Shen Tangning found these words increasingly harsh and couldn't help but step in to stop them. Then she looked at Song Jinxing. Let me take you home. Song Jinxing stubbornly refused to leave. He walked over to Gu Yueting's side and took her hand. Gu Yueting, I don't want to go. Stop making a scene. Let old Shen take you home. If Jiang Haoming really finds out later, and your outfit today is exactly the same as Jiang Haoming's, if he finds out you're his substitute. I pushed the door open and walked in just in time. What substitute? The room fell silent again. Seeing me appear, Gu Yueting immediately flung off Song Jinxing's hand that was holding hers. Song Jinxing was in a lot of pain, but his heart hurt even more. His face couldn't have been any paler. He looked at Gu Yueting in pain. His eyes were filled with hurt. This noise also caught my attention, and I also saw Song Jinxing pulling Gu Yueting's hand. I immediately frowned. My gaze swept back and forth between Gu Yueting and Song Jinxing. Aren't you Sister Shen's boyfriend? A question that made the private room even quieter. Only the soft music could still be heard. Gu Yueting quickly stood up and walked towards me. I raised my hand to stop her. Stop! Gu Yueting stood in place. Her gaze towards me was incredibly complex. I glanced at her, then looked over at Shen Tangning. One of you explain? Substitute for what? Who is my substitute? Su King lowered her head, wanting to hide herself, hoping no one would remember she was the one who spoke just now. I looked at Gu Yueting. Gu Yueting said nothing. I looked at Shen Tangning again. I only saw Shen Tangning purse her lips, also not saying a word. I let out a cold laugh and turned to find Su King in the crowd. Su King, you tell me, who is whose substitute? Su King was called out. She froze for a moment. It's not what you think. We were just gossiping just now. Gossiping? Yes, we were gossiping. Don't misunderstand. I let out a cold laugh. Huh, do you take me for a fool? Is this your reaction when you're just gossiping? You all swallowed your words back. I looked at Song Jinxing. Or how about we let Mr. Song here say whose boyfriend he is? Song Jinxing felt his face burning, as if his dignity was being pressed to the ground and trampled on. No wonder I felt something was off as soon as I entered. I looked at Shen Tangning through the crowd. Sister Shen, is he really your boyfriend? Shen Tangning looked at my reddened eyes. After a long while, she shook her head. I shifted my gaze to Gu Yueting. Then he must be your boyfriend. Gu Yueting hurriedly denied it. No, you're my only boyfriend. I raised my hand and slapped Gu Yueting. Song Jinxing screamed and then covered his mouth. He looked at Gu Yueting with a worried expression. The others also fell silent because of this slap. I looked at Gu Yueting with disappointment. I'll trouble you to explain clearly to your parents, and my parents too, about the shitty things you're doing now. I was truly blind. After speaking, I turned and ran out. Su King stood up, took a few steps to get in front of Gu Yueting, and gave her a push. Hurry up and go after him. Only then did Gu Yueting react and chased after me. After Gu Yueting caught up with me, it was, of course, a string of explanations. There's nothing between him and me. I've never even held his hand. I'm begging you, don't be like this. Can you forgive me? I was truly foolish for a moment. Don't be like this. I'm begging you. I just missed you too much, so I couldn't control myself. I raised my hands to cover my ears. I don't want to hear it. Gu Yueting stopped. I looked very calm. I've never allowed myself to become pathetic, so even at this moment, I was still very cool. Gu Yueting, let's both calm down. I don't know if what you're saying now is true or false. I don't trust you anymore. I need some time to calm down. Let's not see each other for a while. Gu Yueting felt a chill run down her spine. Are you planning to abandon me? My voice was a little crestfallen. Then what do you want me to do? I was so happy to come back to celebrate your birthday, but what did you do in the end? You found someone else. Gu Yueting, you're the one who betrayed me? Gu Yueting quickly pulled me back. I didn't. I haven't done anything to wrong you. Please forgive me this time. I'm begging you. At first, I was still struggling, and I obediently let her hug me. Let's take some time to cool down. I will sort out my feelings, you sort out your complicated relationship. Then we'll talk again. Gu Yueting immediately agreed. I'll deal with him. After I'm done dealing with him, we'll talk again. Promise you'll give me a chance. I thought for a moment, said nothing. She and Tangning took Song Jinxing home. Then she returned to her own apartment. On the way, her mind was filled with the image of my devastated state. Her heart ached. She shouldn't have let Gu Yueting do this from the beginning. As soon as she reached her apartment door, Shen Tangning saw a figure sitting in front of her door. The slender figure trembled slightly in the cold wind. Shen Tangning couldn't quite believe it. She blinked her eyes. The figure still didn't disappear. I looked up and saw Shen Tangning stunned in place. I stood up. My legs were a bit numb from sitting for so long. I was a little unsteady and fell onto the steps. Shen Tangning rushed forward to support me, taking off her coat to wrap around me. I leaned weakly into Shen Tangning's embrace and complained softly, "Why are you only back now?" At this moment, Shen Tangning was filled with regret. She shouldn't have taken Song Jinxing home. Feeling the cold arms of the person in her embrace, Shen Tangning's regret deepened. She hurriedly hugged the person in her arms tighter, apologizing as she helped me into the apartment. "I'll give you a key later. Next time you come, just let yourself in. You came, but you didn't even call me. If you had called, I would have come back right away," Shen Tangning muttered as she placed me on the sofa, went into the room to get a blanket to cover me, then immediately went to the kitchen to boil water. I sat on the sofa, looking down at my hands, seemingly a little sad. While Shen Tangning was boiling water, she looked at me on the sofa. Her eyes were filled with pity. The system watched this scene. It didn't quite understand the host. Shen Tangning is a supporting female character. Why did you run to her? I lowered my head. The tip of my nose was red from the cold. The rims of my eyes were also red. Hearing the system's words, I smirked. Didn't you say I don't need to care about the deviated plot? Then of course I have to make her pay the price. How can betraying a friend not come with a price? Of course, I must make her regret it. In the original plot, Shen Tangning was a mutual friend of the original owner and Gu Yueting. But she saw Gu Yueting cheating and didn't stop her. She also didn't remind the original owner. She even blamed the original owner for coming back because Song Jinxing was sad and blamed the original owner for having returned. How could I let others blame me? Of course, I have to stand on the moral high ground to blame others. Shen Tangning handed me the cup of water. She was about to say something, but she didn't know how to start. For some reason, Shin Tangning didn't really want to mention Guyueting at this moment. I took a sip of hot water, feeling a little warmer. I then looked up straight at Shen Tangning. Shen Tangning was immediately lost in my gaze. She stared at me blankly, carefully squatting in front of me. She didn't stand up to leave. "When did you know?" I asked. Shen Tangning came back to her senses. She didn't dare to look at me. She tilted her head to one side, avoiding my gaze. I immediately understood her hesitation and said affirmatively, "You knew from the very beginning." Shen Tangning looked at me. Her eyes were filled with guilt and pity. I smirked, revealing a bitter smile. "So you knew from the beginning, but you didn't tell me and even helped her deceive me." Shen Tangning pursed her lips. "I'm sorry." I looked down. "Shen Tangning, are we still friends?" Shen Tangning said hurriedly. "Of course, we've always been friends." I looked up at her. My eyes held unconcealed disappointment. "So for the past 2 years, I sent you so many messages. Did you even once think of telling me?" Shen Tangning lowered her head. She had thought about it, but she was afraid I would be sad. She clearly remembered the light in my eyes when I left to pursue my dream of my own. She was even more afraid that because of this, I would give up on my dream. Shen Tangning didn't dare to think if I would regret it, so she never said anything. I know the answer now. I put the cup down, pushed Shen Tangning away, and stood up to leave. Seeing this, Shen Tangning quickly pulled me back. "Where are you going?" I turned my head to look at her. "Shen Tangning, are you still the Shen Tangning I used to know?" Seeing the tear fall from the corner of my eye, Shen Tangning sighed and hugged me. "I'm sorry. Don't be sad. This is all my fault. I should have stopped her from the beginning. I should have told you from the start. I don't know if it's because I'd been holding it in for too long, or if I had tried too hard, being held and comforted. I suddenly lost control and burst into aggrieved tears. What did I do wrong? Why are you all treating me like this?" Hearing my cries, Shin Tangning's heart felt like it was being stabbed, stinging with every pang. They really had hurt me. She couldn't answer. She could only hold me tightly in her arms. The system looked at me in the supporting female lead's arms, crying my heart out. It couldn't help but click its tongue when it saw the host faint and being carried into the room by the female supporting lead. The system got a little nervous, but it saw the female supporting lead acting as if she were protecting a treasure, gently wiping my face and covering me with a blanket before carefully walking out when Shen Tangning woke up in the morning. Of course, I was no longer there. Seeing the breakfast on the table, Shen Tangning's heart warmed up. She ate the slightly cold breakfast, sent me a text message, and then went to work. After I left Shen Tangning's house, I went straight home and went with my parents to meet some elders. Among them were Gu Yueting's parents. Haoming has grown up. He's getting more and more handsome. Isn't that right? Not just handsome. He's a talented artist now, Mr. and Mrs. Zhang. You'll get to enjoy a comfortable life in the future. I linked arms with my father, keeping a polite smile on my face. I just smiled lightly upon hearing the elders' praise. "You're too kind, auntie son. It's all just the media writing whatever they want. It's still better to have a son. Look at Haoming. He knows to stay by his parents' side, unlike that girl of mine. I never know where she's run off to. Can't even see her face. That's right. Sons are still more caring. Such a considerate child, right? My girl never thinks about staying with me. Every time I want to find her, she's not there. I should have had a son in the first place. Not all sons are like that. Haven't you seen the Zhou family's son? He dresses like a young gangster every day. I think Mrs. Zhou is about to go crazy. In the end, it's still the Zhang family that's blessed, always by his parents' side, fulfilling the role of a filial son, both obedient and generous, causing many elders to praise him. When Gu Yueting's parents heard everyone around them praising me, they were all grinning from ear to ear. The wedding must be soon. The delay before was because Haoming went abroad for advanced studies. Originally, Father Gu wasn't very happy about me going abroad for advanced studies, but now he was incredibly proud of my excellence. He was also extremely satisfied when mentioning this future son-in-law. Others came to praise him again, and always said that the wedding was approaching. Anyone could see a father-in-law who was pleased with his son-in-law. Of course, I also took the opportunity to go alone, to greet the Gu parents, and said that I had brought gifts for them from abroad. I'll bring them when I visit another day. Mother Gu was very satisfied with her polite future son-in-law. She nodded and let her husband do the talking. Father Gu was naturally satisfied. He held my hand and said a few cordial words until someone came looking for him. Did he reluctantly let me go? When the elders' party was about to end, I finally met the person I wanted to see, Xia Qianshui, Gu Yueting's aunt. The youngest daughter of the head of the Xia family, 29 years old this year, only 4 years older than Gu Yueting. This party was for acquaintances. Those who came were all close friends and all were parents. At this age, only Xia Qianshui and I were the youngest generation. When I discovered Xia Qianshui was lying on a recliner on the second floor, sunbathing. A book was covering her face. Sensing the sound, Xia Qianshui opened her eyes and took the book off her face. She looked up and saw the man in the white shirt standing in front of her. His eyes were staring at her chest. Xia Qianshui frowned slightly. She moved the book in her hand down a little, covering her chest. Xia Qianshui was a little displeased. She raised her eyes, intending to send him away, when she saw the clear abdominal muscles under the shirt. Xia Qianshui's throat moved. Her fingertips couldn't help but rub against the book cover. I leaned down slightly and smiled as I asked Xia Qianshui, "You like this book too? I've been to several bookstores but couldn't find it. Can I borrow your copy to read?" Xia Qianshui got up from the recliner and unhesitatingly handed over the book in her hand. Of course. I was a little happy and quickly extended both hands. As I took the book, I accidentally touched Xia Qianshui's hand. When Xia Qianshui pulled her hand back, she couldn't help but sniff the tip of her nose. A sweet rose scent immediately wafted over the tip of her nose. I sat down opposite Xia Qianshui with the book. First, I opened the book and read for a while. Then I closed the book and looked up at Xia Qianshui. My name is Zhang Haoming. What's your name? Xia Qianshui raised an eyebrow slightly, thinking to herself, is this on purpose, or is he that Zhang Haoming? Xia Qianshui. My eyes lit up. I took out my phone. Let's exchange contact information. After I finish reading this book, I'll treat Ms. Chia to a meal. Xia Qianshui looked at him because he had sat down. His suit had ridden up a bit. The exposed abs made her feel a little itchy inside. Xia Qianshui arched her back slightly. To hide her thoughts, she took out her phone and added him as a friend. After successfully getting her contact information, I leaned back in my chair, relieved, and opened the book in my hands. I smiled slightly as I read, seemingly truly enjoying this book. Xia Qianshui didn't leave either. She just sat opposite me. Her gaze occasionally swept over that beautiful scenery, yet the other person was completely unaware. The two of them just sat there in silence, one reading a book, the other admiring the view. Until Father Jiang came to call for me. I stood up. After leaving the balcony, I came back. I waved the book in my hand. I'll treat you to a meal after I finish reading it. Not until the figure was completely out of sight did Xia Qianshui rub the web between her thumb and index finger, suppressing that itchy feeling. After I returned from the party, I obediently stayed home and read until I finished reading this book. I opened my mailbox. In the mailbox was the file I had asked a private detective to investigate about Song Jingsing. Song Jingsing's mother has leukemia because there is no suitable bone marrow for a transplant. She is currently in the hospital for chemotherapy, and the costs, of course, all come from the female lead. I looked at Song Jingsing's address. I saw the detective had sent Song Jingsing's daily routine. I knew he was working at the coffee shop today, so I went to find him. Welcome. May I ask what you would like to drink? When Song Jingsing looked up, the smile on his face froze. He had met the person in front of him once before. I looked Song Jingsing up and down at the party before. Song Jingsing wore clothes that Gu Yueting gave him. Today he was wearing his own clothes. The other person was looking at Song Jingsing. He suddenly felt uncomfortable. I looked at him a few times, then found a seat near the window. I'll have a latte, please. Song Jingsing came back to his senses. Yes, please wait a moment. While making the coffee, Song Jingsing would occasionally stare at me over there. He had to admit that the other person was indeed very elegant and handsome, unlike him. But thinking of Gu Yueting's face, Song Jingsing's face turned a little pale. Song Jingsing placed the finished coffee in front of me. Please enjoy, I called out to Song Jingsing, who was turning to leave. Wait. Song Jingsing's body stiffened slightly, but he still turned around. May I ask if you need anything else? I stirred the cup with a spoon. I want to ask you, when you became Gu Yueting's lover, did you know she already had a fiancé? Song Jingsing froze on the spot, his face pale. When his mother was diagnosed with leukemia, he felt like his world was collapsing. It was Gu Yueting who helped him hold on, arranged the best hospital for him, found specialists to treat her, paid the expensive medical bills. Song Jingsing thought his princess had appeared, just when he was overjoyed. The other party suddenly proposed an agreement, telling him to dress according to the preferences of another person, telling him to like the things another person liked, telling him to act as a substitute for another person. Song Jingsing felt his world collapse again, but he couldn't refuse. He had no way of refusing Gu Yueting. She was his mother's lifesaver, the person he liked in his heart. So Song Jingsing thought he'd let himself be a little selfish, to let himself, during the time the other person wasn't here, be by Gu Yueting's side. But he didn't know when. They had both crossed the line. Gu Yueting treated him better and better. She would take him to meet her close friends, and he himself became more and more dependent on Gu Yueting. If it weren't for the appearance of the person before him, Song Jingsing had vaguely thought that he was the person Gu Yueting had been longing for. Seeing his appearance, what else was there for me not to understand? My tone was sarcastic, so you knew that Gu Yueting already had a fiancé, but you still agreed to be her lover? Song Jingsing's face turned a little paler, rims of his eyes reddened. It was as if my self-esteem was being trampled underfoot. But I didn't stop. I continued to ask him. So, do you know that Gu Yueting and I aren't engaged because of our parents' orders, but because we like each other? That we got engaged because we truly love each other? Song Jingsing tightened his apron. He thought back to a time when a drunk Gu Yueting came looking for him, constantly mumbling memories of Zhang Haoming, his brows furrowed. Having just finished with a customer and about to talk to Song Jingsing, Kazhen saw Song Jingsing standing there, his face pale, his brows tightly furrowed. He was about to go over when he heard the other person say Gu Yueting's name. Seeing that the customer's clothes were all designer brands, Kazhen thought it was a man who admired Gu Yueting, coming to cause trouble for her official boyfriend, Song Jingsing. He quickly called Gu Yueting. When Gu Yueting received the call, she was with Shen Tangning. Seeing that Gu Yueting's expression was off, Shen Tangning asked her what was wrong. Gu Yueting frowned. Kazhen called to say someone was causing trouble for Song Jingsing. Shen Tangning's expression turned a little ugly. You still haven't broken it off with him? Gu Yueting's expression wasn't good either. That day, she had originally planned to go and make things clear with Song Jingsing, but who knew it would coincide with his mother's condition worsening. So she stayed with him for a night, and the words that needed to be said were left unsaid. Looking at Gu Yueting's expression, Shen Tangning's face darkened. You're not planning to go, are you? Gu Yuting's expression was serious. I'm afraid it's Song Jingsing's cousin. You're not mistaken, are you? She had met Song Jingsing's cousin once. He was a complete scumbag. He would often beat Song Jingsing up just to ask him for money. I'll go with you. The coffee shop where Song Jingsing worked wasn't far from Gu Yueting's company. A 10-minute drive. They arrived in front of the shop. Song Jingsing and I were still in a confrontation. Mr. Song, what will it take for you to leave my fiancé? Song Jingsing's expression froze. He clutched his apron for a long time before managing to say one word. Sorry, don't say any more. How much money do you want? I can give it to you. Song Jingsing looked as if he had been insulted. He bit his lip, refusing to speak. From a distance, Kazhen saw that Song Jingsing was about to cry. He hurried over, smiling at me. Hey, handsome. Is there anything else you need? I glanced at him, paying him no mind, and continued to look at Song Jingsing. Mr. Song, you're with Gu Yueting just for the money. I can give it to you. I just hope you can leave her. Song Jingsing lowered his head, on the verge of tears. When Kazhen heard these words, he lost his temper. He hated it when people used money to bully others. What are you talking about? Can money buy love? Our Jingsing isn't with Xiao Gu for the money. He is with her because he loves her. What they have is true love. Who are you? On what grounds are you telling someone's official boyfriend to leave? Song Jingsing tugged on Kazhen's sleeve. I scoffed. Official boyfriend? Is that what you tell people? Kazhen couldn't stand this sarcastic tone. He took a step forward, blocking Song Jingsing. Hey, who are you? Don't think you're so great just because you have some dirty money? Do you think we're afraid of you? Zhen's voice was very loud. Everyone else in the coffee shop looked over. I wasn't scared at all. Who am I? Didn't Mr. Song here tell you? I'm the fiancé of the Xiao Gu you just mentioned. Kazhen was about to retort when he realized what the other person had just said. He froze on the spot. Fiancé? That's right. Gu Yueting and I have been in love for 7 years. We got engaged 3 years ago. How come I never knew that Gu Yueting had an official boyfriend? Kazhen paused for a beat and looked at Song Jingsing, finding him standing there with a pale face, with no intention of refuting anything. Kazhen's heart went cold. I continued. Not for money? As far as I know, Mr. Song is still a university student. From the moment Mr. Song's mother was hospitalized, the treatment costs have been at least several $100,000. Does Mr. Song dare say that Gu Yueting didn't pay for all of this? I wonder in what capacity Mr. Song is spending Gu Yueting's money? The customers in the coffee shop all looked over in surprise. This was a classic scene of the main partner catching the third party. How exciting. When Gu Yueting and Shen Tangning entered, they only saw Song Jingsing with his head down, tears hanging on his cheeks. I was hidden by Kazhen, so Gu Yueting didn't see me. When she saw this scene, her anger flared. She rushed forward, pulling Song Jingsing to her side. Who bullied you? Kazhen turned around when he heard her voice. Gu Yueting happened to look over and came face to face with me, who had been revealed when Kazhen turned. Gu Yueting froze on the spot. After coming to her senses, she quickly shoved Song Jingsing away. Song Jingsing was shoved into a nearby table. He looked at Gu Yueting in disbelief. I gave a bitter laugh. Is this what you call giving me another chance? You'll handle it properly? Gu Yueting took 2 steps forward. It's not like that. Jiang Haoming, I didn't. But I backed away as soon as she got close. I immediately stood up and moved back. Don't come over here, Gu Yueting. I'm so disappointed in you. You truly disgust me. After saying that, I threw the cup of coffee in my hand into Gu Yueting's face. Then I pulled out a few 100 yuan bills from my pocket and placed them on the table. Then I left with my head held high. Gu Yueting wiped the coffee from her face. She was about to give chase when Shen Tangning stopped her. Don't provoke him anymore. I'm worried something will happen to him. Gu Yueting immediately became even more anxious. She wanted to chase after him but couldn't. Shen Tangning then said, I'll go check on him. You handle your own business first. Watching Shen Tangning's back as she chased after me, Gu Yueting's heart ached even more. Kazhen stood on the spot, his expression a little unsightly. His friend, the person he thought was so innocent, turned out to be the third party, and a third party who knew what he was doing and did it anyway. Song Jingsing straightened up. As soon as he was steady, he met Gu Yueting's gaze. His heart sank. Gu Yueting looked coldly at Song Jingsing, her voice laced with a hint of hatred. Don't ever appear in front of me again, and especially don't appear in front of him. After saying that, Gu Yueting strode away. Immediately, the people in the coffee shop looked towards Song Jingsing with unfriendly gazes, especially the regulars, who used to think this young man was a simple person, who knew his methods were so advanced. After hearing Gu Yueting's words, Song Jingsing felt as if his heart had been pierced. He clutched his chest in pain, thinking someone would come to comfort him, but after a long while there was no sound. He couldn't help but look towards Kazhen, only to see that Kazhen, at some point, had returned to the counter and started serving customers. Shen Tangning caught up to me, pulled me aside and hailed a taxi. Not long after, she had taken me back to her villa. As soon as we entered the apartment, I stopped. Seeing this, Shen Tangning, who was pulling me from the front, also stopped. She turned around and asked me gently, What's wrong? I suddenly rushed into her arms, hugging her tightly. Shen Tangning was stunned at first, then she hugged me back tightly. I spoke sadly. Shen Tangning, are you the only one I have left? Shen Tangning's heart ached immensely. She hugged the person in her arms tightly. Don't be sad, you still have me. I stayed at Shen Tangning's place for another night. The next day, I also left breakfast for her before leaving. When I got home, I found an extra set of keys in my pocket. I smirked. One fish has taken the bait. I took the book from the bedside table, took out my phone, and sent a message to Xia Qianshui. Miss Xia, I finished the book. When are you free? I'd like to treat you to a meal and return the book at the same time. When Xia Qianshui received the message, she was listening to her assistant's work report. Hearing the phone buzz, the assistant was first stunned, then glanced nervously at his boss and took the phone out of his own pocket. He stole a glance and saw there were no messages. The assistant was confused. Then he saw his boss pick up her phone and open WeChat. Xia Qianshui saw the message. She raised an eyebrow slightly. The first thing that came to her mind was his abs. The assistant stood quietly to the side, waiting for his boss to reply to the message. He was extremely surprised. He had been his boss' assistant for 5 years, but he had never seen his boss use WeChat. The boss was only in her 30s, but lived like a man over 50. Now seeing his boss holding her phone and replying to a message, the assistant raised his eyebrows. He was a little curious about who was on the other end of the line. While I was flirting with Xia Qianshui over text, I also started organizing my own art exhibition. Because of my efforts abroad, my reputation had skyrocketed. As soon as news got out that I wanted to hold an exhibition, many sponsors came forward. I took out my previously completed works, using most of them as exhibits. I only needed to paint a few more pieces, and I could hold the exhibition. You want to paint the starry sky? Xia Qianshui was chatting with me when she found out I wanted to hold an exhibition and was preparing to paint a starry sky. She quickly called me. I received the call, a little surprised. Yeah, but you can't see a beautiful starry sky in the city. I have no inspiration to paint. Xia Qianshui raised an eyebrow, her voice carrying a hint of seduction. I know a place where you can see a very beautiful starry sky. My voice immediately became cheerful. Really? Xia Qianshui smirked. Want to go? Xia Qianshui chuckled, looking at her schedule. I'm free this afternoon. Seemingly realizing what she was thinking, I smirked. My tone had a hint of ambiguity. How about I treat Miss Xia to a meal, and Miss Xia takes me to see the stars, okay? Xia Qianshui didn't agree. You still haven't treated me to the meal you owe me from last time. I smirked. Then I'll treat you next time. When I went to find Xia Qianshui, I deliberately changed into a different outfit, a thin chiffon shirt that further accentuated my abs. When I arrived at Xia Qianshui's company, I saw a woman with glasses standing there. Seeing me, she came forward and asked, Hello, Mr. Jiang. I am CEO Xia's assistant. CEO Xia asked me to come and get you. The assistant smiled, her expression gentle, but inside she couldn't help but scream. No wonder a stick in the mud like the boss was clinging to her phone for dear life. This is truly god-tier handsome. Okay, thank you. I smiled lightly and followed the assistant towards the elevator. From the corner of my eye, I caught the gossipy expression of the receptionist. Then I took the elevator up. Xia Qianshui was looking at the documents in her hand. Because she had to go out with me, she had rushed some of her work. So there were a few more documents to review. Hearing footsteps that were a bit clearer, Xia Qianshui quickly knew it wasn't her assistant coming in. She quickly looked up and saw me appear before her. Xia Qianshui's gaze hadn't fully lifted, but her throat was already a little hoarse. I walked up to Xia Qianshui and sat on her desk. CEO Xia, can't you skip work today? Xia Qianshui looked at the legs right in front of her. Her fingers rubbed together slightly, suppressing the surging emotions. Can't wait? I smiled. There's still half an hour until the flowers I ordered are delivered. I wonder if CEO Xia, within half an hour, can finish this whole pile. I poked the pile of documents in front of Xia Qianshui with my finger. Xia Qianshui lowered her head and chuckled lightly. Of course. Well, leave on time in half an hour. I raised an eyebrow. What about dinner? Xia Qianshui looked at the legs dangling in front of her. She swallowed. She really wanted to open her mouth and say she didn't want to eat dinner. There's a restaurant over there. The food is quite good. I nodded, satisfied, and stood up, swinging my legs. I walked over to the sofa and sat down, deliberately leaning towards Xia Qianshui. I crossed my long legs and half lay on the sofa, playing with my phone. Xia Qianshui's eyes roamed over my body until I laughed out loud at something I saw. Only then did Xia Qianshui come back to her senses. She lowered her head and began to process the documents. After the assistant left, people constantly tried to get information from her. She looked at her full inbox and smiled. What was the use in asking her? She didn't know either, whether he was the boss's future husband or not. Half an hour later, the assistant knocked and came in carrying painting supplies. Mr. Jiang, here are your things. I stood up from the sofa, my face full of smiles. They're mine, thank you. Facing the handsome god's smile, the corners of the assistant's mouth also turned up. Before she could say anything, she heard the boss's voice. If you're done delivering them, get out. Assistant, yes, mom. I smiled and waved at her, watching her leave with a big smile. I carried the supplies over to Xia Qianshui. I placed the things on the desk, then sat on Xia Qianshui's desk again. My right foot lightly kicked her chair. Isn't CEO Xia off work yet? Xia Qianshui looked at the person in front of her, then at the documents in her hand. Finally, she made a decision. She stood up and walked towards me, her body quickly pressing against mine. I leaned back slightly, my eyes not flinching as I stared at Xia Qianshui. The two of us got closer and closer, so close we could feel each other's hot breath. Xia Qianshui tilted her head slightly, the corner of her mouth pressing against my lips. Just as she was about to kiss me, she stopped. Then let's get off work a little early today. After speaking, Xia Qianshui stood up straight, her left hand already holding the things that I had placed on the desk. Xia Qianshui loosened her tie as if she had only intended to help me carry my things. Let's go, time to get off work. I broke into a brilliant smile, my eyes sparkling with tiny flecks of light, as if I had been waiting for Xia Qianshui for a long time. I jumped off the desk and walked beside Xia Qianshui, following her out. The assistant saw the two of them come out, a little surprised. She went forward to meet them. When Xia Qianshui saw her assistant, she gave her a few instructions for today's work. Then she took me to the elevator and left. The assistant watched her boss take a few steps, then turned back to see if I was keeping up. Seeing that I was, she continued forward. The corner of her mouth curved up slightly, making the assistant doubt her own existence. This was the first time the boss had ever left work so early. I got into Xia Qianshui's car, casually letting her help me with my seatbelt. I leaned back in the car, looking around. Finally, I took a small sachet out of my pocket, a small peace charm, and hung it in her car. Xia Qianshui, watching me act as if I were treating her things as my own, was not only not angry but even smirked lightly. She started the car. This is a resort, and it's a resort that isn't finished yet. As we were about to arrive, Xia Qianshui tilted her head and glanced at the man sitting quietly in the passenger seat. Aren't you afraid I'll sell you? Hearing this, I looked up from my phone and looked at Xia Qianshui. How much am I worth? Xia Qianshui chuckled lightly. Quite a lot, actually. I smiled and looked at the scenery along the road. This place isn't open yet, is it? Xia Qianshui nodded. That's right, so you're the first guest here. Everyone hopes to be special. Hearing these words, I was indeed very happy. I looked intently at the resort. The village is very beautiful, with added ethnic elements. The houses are all on stilts, and they are all wooden houses, looking incredibly exquisite. The car stopped beside a lake. I got out and saw the lake was full of lotus leaves. I turned to talk to Xia Qianshui. We should have waited until June to come. Xia Qianshui smiled. It'll bring you again then. The lake was very large, with a sandy beach along the shore, covered with pebbles. I walked on the pebbles, in a very good mood. Xia Qianshui handed the car keys to the manager here, then gave some low-voiced instructions. Prepare some specialty dishes, and tidy up the house in the middle of the lake a bit. After giving instructions, Xia Qianshui chased after me. I walked along the lake shore, my legs looking even longer by the lake. Xia Qianshui walked up beside me. The starry sky here at night is very beautiful. You can gaze at it to your heart's content tonight. I tilted my head to look at her, my eyes filled with amusement. Thank you so much, Xia. Xia Qianshui smiled and told me about the origin and highlights of this resort. So many of the people here are people who originally lived in this village. I looked at Xia Qianshui, a little surprised. Xia Qianshui nodded. That's right, I bought their land. They rent my houses to live in and open shops here to make money. It's much better than me hiring new employees. Xia Qianshui looked at the nearly completed resort and smiled. They will cherish and love this place more than my other employees. I smiled. CEO Xia really knows how to do business. How about you teach me? Xia Qianshui looked down at the person standing in front of her. Okay, but you have to pay tuition. Are you short of this little bit of money? Xia Qianshui looked at the clear eyes before her, a wicked glint in her smirk. I never said it was money. I raised an eyebrow, seemingly interested. Then what do you want? Xia Qianshui was silent for a long time. After sufficiently piquing my curiosity, she finally spoke. I'll tell you later. Let's go eat. After speaking, she strode towards the nearby restaurant. I don't know if I was just wandering aimlessly before, but I ended up walking in the right direction of the restaurant. Tell me first, I said, dissatisfied. I chased after her, tugging at Xia Qianshui's clothes. I quickly caught up to Xia Qianshui. After the two of them finished eating, it was already dark. I was preparing to take a walk by the lake to digest my food, when Xia Qianshui tapped me lightly on the head. I tilted my head to look at her. Xia Qianshui happened to lean in close to my ear. Look up. Hearing that, I looked up, and was stunned. The vast night sky was full of bright stars. Like pearls of all sizes scattered on a jade plate, they sparkled brightly. After returning from the resort, Xia Qianshui became busy again. I also felt that this level of distance was just right, so I didn't contact Xia Qianshui. Instead, I often chatted with Gu Yueding and Shen Tangning. Gu Yueding seemed to genuinely want to atone for her mistakes, constantly sending flowers to my apartment. Every day, regardless of whether I replied or not, she would send caring messages in the morning and evening whenever she was free. I looked at the flood of messages on my phone, frowned slightly, turned off the screen, and continued painting, preparing works for the exhibition. Perhaps because I had been back in the country for a while, my parents still hadn't seen me visit the Gu family, they realized something was amiss. So they told me to visit the Gu family's elders and arrange a dinner for the two families. Reluctantly, I brought the gifts I had, brought back from abroad to the Gu family's house. The Zhang and Gu families didn't live far from each other. It was a half-hour drive. Before I left, I called Gus' parents, and of course, I knew they would definitely tell Gu Yueding. As for whether Gu Yueding would be home or not, that wasn't my concern. Young Master Jiang is here. The butler saw me, his face beaming with a smile. The engagement ceremony a few years ago, he still remembered it vividly. He always felt that Miss Gu and young Master Jiang were a perfect match. I smiled and said, "Uncle Liu? Are uncle and auntie home?" Yes, please come in." I carried the gifts into the house. As soon as I entered, I saw Gus' mother watching TV in the living room. "Auntie." Hearing my voice, Gus' mother quickly stood up, not forgetting to pause her palace drama series. She walked over to greet me. "Just coming is enough. Why did you bring gifts? You're too kind." I smiled and took out the gift in my hand. "This is a gift for you. When I was abroad and saw this silk scarf, I thought it would suit you very well. I made a point of buying it before I returned." The silk scarf was from a high-end brand, very difficult to buy in this country. When Gus' mother saw that it was her favorite color, purple, the corners of her mouth couldn't help but curve up in satisfaction. "How thoughtful of you to think of me even when you were abroad." I acted obedient and sensible. "Where's uncle? I have a gift for him too. He's in the study upstairs. I'll be down in a moment. The last time we met, I didn't get a good look at you. Why do I feel like you've gotten so much thinner? Did you have trouble getting used to the food abroad?" It was fine. I just missed the taste of home. The two of them sat and chatted in the living room, but before Gus' father came downstairs, they saw Gu Yueting return from outside. Gus' mother saw her daughter walk in with a bouquet of flowers and couldn't help but tease her. "You've come home so many times, but you've never brought flowers for your mother." When she heard you were coming, she immediately rushed over with flowers. "It's true that once you have a man, you forget your mother." Gu Yueting walked over and gave the flowers to me. Out of respect for Gus' mother, I accepted the bouquet. They were my favorite pink roses. I turned and gave the bouquet of roses to Gus' mother. "Then how about I borrow these flowers to offer to Buddha so that you can be happy too?" Gus' mother, who had been trying to keep a straight face, burst out laughing when she heard this. As expected, a son is more considerate. I smiled. "My parents said we should have dinner together tonight. Since Gu Yueting is back, why don't we leave now?" Gus' mother nodded in agreement and placed the flowers on the coffee table. "Let me go get her father." After Gus' mother's figure disappeared up the stairs, the smile on my face vanished. Gu Yueting squatted down in front of me and took my hand. I struggled a few times, but couldn't break free, so I just let her be. "I really have no relationship with him anymore. Don't be mad at me anymore, okay?" I turned my face away, not looking at her, and said nothing. Gu Yueting said hurriedly, "I've really cut ties with him completely. Please believe me. Zhang Haoming, from beginning to end, I've only ever loved you. I just missed you too much, that's why I did such a foolish thing. You can understand me, right? I promise, I really won't have any relationship with him anymore. I've even blocked all his contact information. Really, please believe me. Zhang Haoming, I admit it's my fault. I also know I made a very serious mistake. I'm just begging you to give me one more chance, to give our 7 years of love another chance. Don't give up on me so easily, okay?" I saw that she was almost done talking, and was about to say a few gentle words when I heard Gus' parents' voices. The two of them had come down from upstairs and were walking over. Hearing them, Gu Yueting wasn't flustered at all. She simply stood up and sat down next to me, but didn't let go of my hand. Gus' parents walked over and saw the young couple sitting close together, hand in hand, looking very intimate. Gus' mother covered her mouth and giggled. Gus' father, on the other hand, looked serious, but there was still a hint of a smile in his eyes. I shook off Gu Yueting's hand, stood up, and greeted Gus' father. "Hello, uncle." Gus' father nodded and gave a simple greeting. Gu Yueting stood up. Let's go, mom. You ride with dad. You come with me." No one had any objections to this arrangement, so we set off. I sat silently in the passenger seat, which was different from when I was in Xia Tianshui's car. Back then, I was at ease, comfortable, deliberately showing a relaxed and lazy demeanor, but now my expression was cold. To show that I was still angry, I leaned back against the seat and turned my head to look out the window, not giving Gu Yueting a single glance. Gu Yueting kept trying to find topics of conversation. "I heard you're going to hold a painting exhibition soon. Is there anything I can help with?" I watched the passing crowd outside the car window. I accepted the flowers. They were my favorite pink roses. I turned and gave the bouquet of roses to Gus' mother. "Then how about I borrow these flowers to offer to Buddha so that you can be happy too?" Gus' mother, who had been trying to keep a straight face, burst out laughing when she heard this. As expected, a son is more considerate. I smiled. "My parents said we should have dinner together tonight. Since Gu Yueting is back, why don't we leave now?" Gus' mother nodded in agreement and placed the flowers on the coffee table. "Let me go get her father." After Gus' mother's figure disappeared up the stairs, the smile on my face vanished. Gu Yueting squatted down in front of me and took my hand. I struggled a few times but couldn't break free, so I just let her be. "I really have no relationship with him anymore. Don't be mad at me anymore, okay?" I turned my face away, not looking at her, and said nothing. Gu Yueting said hurriedly, "I've really cut ties with him completely. Please believe me. Zhang Haoming, from beginning to end, I've only ever loved you. I just missed you too much. That's why I did such a foolish thing. You can understand me, right? I promise, I really won't have any relationship with him anymore. I've even blocked all his contact information. Really? Please believe me. Jiang Haoming, I admit it's my fault. I also know I made a very serious mistake. I'm just begging you to give me one more chance, to give our 7 years of love another chance. Don't give up on me so easily, okay?" I saw that she was almost done talking and was about to say a few gentle words when I heard Gus' parents' voices. The two of them had come down from upstairs and were walking over. Hearing them, Gu Yueting wasn't flustered at all. She simply stood up and sat down next to me but didn't let go of my hand. Gus' parents walked over and saw the young couple sitting close together, hand in hand, looking very intimate. Gus' mother covered her mouth and giggled. Gus' father, on the other hand, looked serious, but there was still a hint of a smile in his eyes. I shook off Gu Yueting's hand, stood up, and greeted Gus' father. "Hello, uncle." Gus' father nodded and gave a simple greeting. Gu Yueting stood up. "Let's go, Mom. You ride with Dad. You come with me." No one had any objections to this arrangement, so we set off. I sat silently in the passenger seat, which was different from when I was in Xia Tianshui's car. Back then, I was at ease, comfortable, deliberately showing a relaxed and lazy demeanor. But now, my expression was cold. To show that I was still angry, I leaned back against the seat and turned my head to look out the window, not giving Gu Yueting a single glance. Gu Yueting kept trying to find topics of conversation. "I heard you're going to hold a painting exhibition soon. Is there anything I can help with?" I watched the passing crowd outside the car window, feeling a bit dazed. Sometimes I feel this world is so big that my small self could be completely forgotten. Sometimes I also doubt myself, wondering if I truly exist. Although I was zoning out, I didn't forget to answer Gu Yueting. No need. My tone carried a hint of coldness. Gu Yueting was a bit at a loss, but still carefully brought up a few other topics, but I only gave a few cold replies. When we arrived at the restaurant, before getting out of the car, I turned my head to look at Gu Yueting. "Gu Yueting, a promise isn't something you just say with your mouth. You told me to give you a chance, so you need to show me with your actions. I need to see your determination. I need to see what you do, not just hear you talk about it, right?" Gu Yueting was stunned. "Haoming, our 7 years of love, I don't want it to end so ambiguously either. I hope you won't disappoint me again." After saying that, I unbuckled my seatbelt and got out of the car. During the meal, the two families inevitably brought up the topic of our marriage. Before, it was because Haoming was studying abroad, but now that he's back, how about we pick an auspicious day and hold the wedding first? I think that's a good idea. That's right. Before it was because they weren't together. Now that they are, we can consider the marriage. That's right. They're not young anymore. It's about time. Gus' father turned to look at the young couple. "What do you two think?" I pursed my lips. I think it's still a bit early. The word early wasn't even fully out of my mouth when Gu Yueting cut me off. "We'll listen to our parents and uncle and auntie." I tilted my head to look at Gu Yueting. Gu Yueting smiled and reached out to take my hand under the table. I froze for a moment, didn't pull away, and frowned, but I didn't deny anything either. When Gu Yueting saw that I didn't verbally refuse the marriage, she couldn't help but feel a little happy. A smile finally appeared on her face, the most sincere one she'd shown in days. The elders from both families looked at the two youngsters, one bowing his head shyly, the other smiling at him, and couldn't help but laugh together. Then they continued discussing the wedding. "I see there's a good day next month. Next month is a bit too soon. Not enough time to arrange everything." "True. Then July. July isn't bad. The weather is also nice." I kept my head down and ate, and until I was finally taken home, I didn't pay attention to what date the two families had set. The fact that the two families were discussing the marriage wasn't kept a secret, and soon, many people knew. Shen Tangning was sitting in a private room at a bar, drinking. She knew her current emotions were a mess, but she didn't want to hold back. She just wanted to let loose. When Su King walked in, she was a bit surprised to see Shen Tangning drinking alone to drown her sorrows, and was a bit surprised. "Tangning, what's wrong?" Shen Tangning sneered. "Right, what was wrong with her? Jiang Haoming and Gu Yueting are getting married. She was their best friend. Shouldn't she be happy?" But Shen Tangning didn't feel happy at all. In fact, her mind was filled with images of the times. She was alone with Jiang Haoming. She knew her thoughts were not normal. She didn't even know when she started having these thoughts. Was it before Jiang Haoming went abroad or after he came back? Shen Tangning didn't know, and she couldn't control it. By the time she realized it, she had already started feeling sad about the fact that Jiang Haoming was getting married. Sensing something was wrong, Su King couldn't help but ask, "What on earth is wrong with you? You look like you're heartbroken." Shen Tangning said nothing, nor did she deny it. Su King was about to make a joke when she realized. She was so shocked she took a step back, looking at Shen Tangning as if she were a monster. "Damn, no way. You're heartbroken? Since when? With whom? Do I know them? Did you dump them, or did they dump you?" Shen Tangning sneered. "Dump? We haven't even started. How could there be any dumping? From the very beginning, she never even had a chance." Thinking of how Jiang Haoming had held her that day, Shen Tangning tilted her head back and downed another glass of wine. Seeing that the situation was not good, Su King quickly snatched the glass from her. "Hey, let's talk about it slowly. If you don't talk, how can your sister help you solve the problem? Just drinking to drown your sorrows won't work." With no wine to drink, Shen Tangning lowered her head and remained silent. Su King sighed at this, then wanted to change the subject, and blurted out a question. "Jiang Haoming and Gu Yueting are getting married soon. Did you know about this? I can't believe Jiang Haoming doesn't mind. I remember that although he's gentle, he always has principles. What Gu Yueting did was truly inhuman, yet he forgave her so easily." After waiting for a long time, Su King didn't hear a reply. She tilted her head to look at Shen Tangning and saw that Shen Tangning's expression had gotten even worse. An absurd thought immediately flashed through her mind, and she blurted it out. The person you're talking about. It couldn't be Jiang Haoming, could it? Shen Tangning didn't refute it. After 3 seconds, Su Qing jumped up. Damn, it really is Jiang Haoming. Since when? How did I not know? When did you two get involved? Scratching her head, Su Qing answered her own question. That's not right. Jiang Haoming has been abroad for the past few years, and you haven't even been on a business trip in years. There's no way you could have been involved with Jiang Haoming. Jiang Haoming clearly likes Gu Yueting so much, and he genuinely considers you his best friend. There's no way he would cross that line unless... Su Qing turned back, looked at Shen Tangning, who had raised her head, and said with certainty, it's one-sided. Shen Tangning didn't refute it. Su Qing turned and kicked the trash can and cursed. Tangning, their wedding date is set. July, they're getting married in July. What are you thinking? Shen Tangning picked up her glass and tilted her head back, continuing to get herself drunk. This time, Su Qing didn't stop her. Su Qing walked over, sat down next to Shen Tangning, and sighed. Oh, Tangning. Drink up. After today, just let it go. Shen Tangning downed glass after glass, getting herself drunk as if getting drunk would make all this pain disappear, and these truths would no longer be true. Su Qing sighed and comforted her. At first, she told Shen Tangning to let go, but later that changed. Don't be too sad either. Those two aren't married yet. Who knows? Maybe one day Gu Yueting will lose her mind again and go running to Song Jinghang. Then Jiang Haoming definitely won't forgive her again. Haven't you seen how Gu Yueting has been trying to suck up to him these past few days? Ugh, it's such an eyesore. If she had known, why did she even do it in the first place? Su Qing continued, Tangning. I mean, what Gu Yueting did was not something a human would do. She was perfectly fine with Jiang Haoming, but she had to drag out a Song Jinghang. I don't see how Song Jinghang resembles Jiang Haoming at all. Alright, fine. Their auras are quite similar. But as soon as Jiang Haoming arrived, you can clearly see the difference. What was Gu Yueting even thinking? Under Su Qing nagging, Shen Tangning got herself completely drunk. Su Qing sighed and started to take this big shot home. After tossing her into a room in the apartment, Su Qing patted Shen Tangning's face. Tangning, are you okay? I'm leaving first. Call me if you need anything. If you still haven't drowned your sorrows enough, we'll drink again tomorrow. Because she knew Shen Tangning wouldn't cause trouble after getting drunk, just sleep quietly, Su Qing put her down and left. In the middle of the night, Shen Tangning crawled up out of thirst. Groggy, she found her phone and called Jiang Haoming. I was already asleep, but as soon as the phone vibrated, my eyes immediately opened. The system saw this scene and couldn't help but ask, Host, weren't you already asleep? I smirked slightly but said nothing. I picked up the phone and saw Shen Tangning's name. I raised an eyebrow, lay back down on the bed, and just before the call was about to end, I answered. Hello? My voice was laced with the grogginess of just waking up and the annoyance of being woken up. Jiang Haoming, I want to see you. My voice was a bit doubtful. Huh? Tangning, what time is it? Are you not asleep yet? Jiang Haoming, I want to see you. Shen Tangning on the other end was incoherent, only able to repeat this sentence. As if I had just realized something was wrong, my tone became much more awake. Where are you? I feel like you're not in a good state. I'll come find you. Where are you now? Hearing that she was at her apartment, I said hurriedly, Okay, then don't go anywhere. It'll be right over. I hung up the phone, slowly got up, face devoid of any expression. The system was speechless. It just saw the host change all sorts of tones, but his expression was always very calm, completely not matching his tone. It became speechless. When I arrived at Shen Tangning's apartment, it was already past 4 a.m. Luckily, Shen Tangning had given me the key to the apartment before, so I wasn't worried that Shen Tangning wouldn't wake up to open the door. After going inside, I went straight to the bedroom. I opened the bedroom door and frowned when I saw no one on the bed. I glanced around and saw Shen Tangning squatting beside the bed, mostly hidden by the bed. I almost didn't see her. Jiang Haoming walked over and squatted in front of Shen Tangning. He saw that she had fallen asleep leaning against the edge of the bed. I touched her face. Maybe because I came in from outside, my hand was a little cold. As soon as I touched her, Shen Tangning woke up. Jiang Haoming, you're here? I nodded. Why are you sleeping on the floor? Shen Tangning was dazed. You told me not to move. I was afraid you wouldn't find me, so I didn't move at all. I raised my eyebrows slightly, moved by her obedient appearance. I couldn't help but pat Shen Tangning's head, as if rewarding my pet. Shen Tangning seemed to understand this was a reward, and a smile formed on her lips. She became even more obedient. Go to bed and sleep. Get up, I'll help you up. Seeing Shen Tangning obediently lie on the bed, I raised my eyebrows and sat on the bed, gently coaxing her. Why did you drink so much? Shen Tangning was like a child being questioned by a teacher, obediently speaking her mind. Because I'm unhappy. Why are you unhappy? You're getting married soon. Shen Tangning took my hand. Her eyes glistened. Jiang Haoming, can you not get married? Gu Yueting is not good. I smirked slightly, feeling the thrill of a fish taking the bait. Why? Gu Yueting is very good, she's not good. Shen Tangning hurriedly retorted. She has someone else. She's good to someone else. Jiang Haoming, don't want her. Let's not want her. She's good to someone else. Let's not want her. Can we just be with each other? I chuckled. That's right. She has someone else. But you were clearly on the other person's side too. If you had protected me from the start, it wouldn't have ended up like this. Shen Tangning seemed to be getting sleepy. Her mouth kept muttering, she's not good, don't want her. And then she fell asleep. I twitched my hand. I couldn't help but be a little suspicious. Shen Tangning isn't pretending to be drunk, is she? System, tell me, is Shen Tangning pretending to be drunk? The system checked Shen Tangning's physiological data and hurriedly replied, no. Host, she is really drunk. I looked at the hand that was being held tightly. Then I looked at the fish that had taken the bait. I smiled. I decided to add fuel to the fire. Seemingly sensing the person next to her get closer, Shen Tangning quickly pulled the person into her arms, holding on tightly. Then she fell asleep, contentedly. The next morning, Shen Tangning groggily woke up. The moment her hand moved a little, she felt something was wrong. Why did she feel like she was hugging someone? She forced her eyes open. Shen Tangning immediately saw a man's black hair. Her eyes widened instantly. 10,000 alpacas ran through her mind. She cursed Su Qing 10,000 times. Su Qing actually pushed a man on her. Shen Tangning thought about how she hugged a strange man and slept all night. A sense of disgust immediately welled up in her heart. She was about to push the person awake. Her other hand felt for her phone to call Su Qing. Shen Tangning then saw the clothes and bag on the bedside table. They were very familiar. It was Jiang Haoming's. Shen Tangning couldn't believe it. Not looking at the man beside her, the faint scent in his hair was very similar to Jiang Haoming's. On the other end, Su Qing quickly answered the phone. As soon as the call connected, she shouted loudly, "Old Shen, are you awake? Are you uncomfortable anywhere? Luckily you weren't rowdy when you were drunk." Seemingly hearing the noise, the person in her arms turned over. He turned to face her and snuggled into the blanket. Shen Tangning watched this scene and felt like her heart was about to stop beating. "Old Shen, let me tell you, don't be too heartbroken." Hearing Su Qing's voice still on the line and looking at me frowning in her arms, Shen Tangning hurriedly ended the call. She hung up on Su Qing. Su Qing was just about to take the opportunity to persuade Shen Tangning while she was sober, but the call was hung up. Su Qing was stunned. Could something have happened? So Su Qing called back. Shen Tangning was staring at me. The phone rang again. She quickly silenced the phone. Seeing that it was Su Qing calling, she frowned. She sent a text message. "Don't bother me." After sending it, she turned off her phone and put it aside. Shen Tangning stared at me. Seeing that I wasn't woken up, she smiled contentedly. Then she also laid down on her side, staring at my peaceful face. Her heart felt full and happy. When I woke up, Shen Tangning was no longer in the room. When I got up and went to the bathroom, I found that Shen Tangning had prepared new toiletries for me. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. After getting ready and coming out, I saw Shen Tangning making breakfast in the kitchen. "Does your head not hurt anymore?" Hearing the voice, she turned her head to look. Jiang Haoming looked up and met Shen Tangning's glistening eyes. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. "Yeah, it hurts. Did I bother you last night?" As soon as I heard this question, I knew Shen Tangning didn't remember anything, so I didn't say much. I shook my head. "No, just don't drink so much next time. It's not good for your health." Shen Tangning didn't hear him talk about last night and felt a little disappointed in her heart, but she didn't think much of it and just pointed to the dining table. "Go sit down first. Breakfast is almost ready." I obediently sat at the table, my expression completely normal. My tone was the same as before as I chatted with Shen Tangning. "Who did you go drinking with last night? How could they bring you home and just leave you like that?" When Shen Tangning heard that, she regretted a little that she didn't call Su Qing later to ask about the situation. "No, I went with Su Qing. You saw me last night?" I shook my head and asked doubtfully. "No, when I arrived yesterday, you were the only one here." Shen Tangning frowned, trying to recall yesterday's memories. I continued speaking from my end. "I thought something had happened, calling me in the middle of the night. You scared me." Shen Tangning's heart felt warm and at the same time, very excited. In other words, I called Jiang Haoming last night, and he came over as soon as he heard. I said a few words, and then didn't mention last night's events again, nor did I mention why I was sleeping in the same bed with her. I quietly ate breakfast, and took the opportunity to reply to the messages I hadn't answered yesterday. Shen Tangning came over. As she placed the warmed glass of milk in front of me, she happened to see the name on my chat interface. It was Gu Yueting. Shen Tangning's good mood instantly vanished. She sat opposite me, watching me eat and reply to messages. She couldn't help but ask a question. "Are you two really getting married?" I paused, and Shen Tangning immediately realized something was wrong. She hurriedly explained a few things. "I'm not saying it's not good, it's just that I think it's a bit early." "Do uncle and aunt know about her and Song Jinxing?" I shook my head. Shen Tangning sighed. "Then you have to tell her not to contact Song Jinxing anymore in the future." I looked up. Shen Tangning's eyes were full of complicated emotions. After a long silence, I finally spoke. She already agreed with me and said she would cut ties with Song Jinxing. Shen Tangning was at a loss for words. She really wanted to say that you can't fully trust a woman's words, but she was afraid of hurting me. I lowered my head. After a while, I slowly spoke up. "Actually, I myself don't know if I should marry her." Shen Tangning's eyes lit up. She looked up at me. I sighed. "What she did is very hard for me to accept." She said it was because she loved me. But if someone truly loves another person, how could they do something like that? I feel like I can no longer trust Gu Yueting, but it's been 7 years of feelings I can't completely let go. Shen Tangning, I'm very hesitant. Shen Tangning casually advised, if you're hesitant, then just postpone the wedding for now. See how she behaves and then decide. I shook my head. The elders have already decided. If I suggest postponing it now, they will definitely be sad. Shen Tangning lowered her head, hiding the disappointment in her eyes. But I continued speaking. I decided to give her another chance, and also to give our feelings a chance. If she disappoints me again, then I will never forgive her again. When Shen Tangning heard this, she looked down at the glass of milk in front of her. A dark glint flashed in her eyes. After leaving Shen Tangning's apartment, I started preparing for my art exhibition again. The exhibition pieces were almost ready. I had 42 of my own paintings. Then there were more than 10 paintings by famous artists. Among them were a few extremely valuable pieces, the kind that only appear in the news. They came from Gu Yueting and Xia Qianshui, respectively. I accepted them without any hesitation. Then I hired many security guards to stand watch. Before opening the art exhibition, I met Xia Qianshui a few more times under the pretext of learning from her experience in holding exhibitions to deal with guests. I flirted with her a few times. Although I didn't think Xia Qianshui would be like Shen Tangning, getting drunk for me, but I felt the time was ripe. The next time will be Tianhuo. So, amidst such busy days, the art exhibition opened. 1. They were attracted by my fame. 2. There were famous paintings as a backdrop. 3. Some people had heard that Xia Qianshui and Gu Yueting would be coming. Therefore, all the tickets for my art exhibition were sold out. After the tickets were sold out, there were still many people at the entrance waiting for others to leave so they could enter in their place. I was both hosting the guests as the owner and taking this opportunity to get to know some people who truly understand art. I was endlessly busy at the exhibition. When Gu Yueting arrived, she brought a bouquet of flowers and a gift. Congratulations, the exhibition is very successful and you're one step closer to your dream. Gu Yueting had a gentle smile on her face as she handed the flowers and gift to me. I took them, sniffed them a little, then handed the flowers to a staff member beside me, telling him to put them away. I looked up at Gu Yueting. Thank you. I, of course, know that the original owner's dream was to become a famous artist who could hold exhibitions all over the world so that more people who liked his paintings could see them. After Gu Yueting arrived, she was always by my side. Although many people in our circle knew that I and Gu Yueting were getting married soon, but many people were only interested in art and the media didn't know. So this scene of a talented man and a beautiful woman was captured in photos. When Xia Qianshui arrived, she happened to see this scene. She looked up and saw an unpleasant sight. A mischievous strand of hair blew across my face. Gu Yueting saw this and very naturally reached out to tuck the hair behind my ear. Xia Qianshui, standing there holding flowers, suddenly remembered that a few days ago her brother called and said that her nephew was getting married soon. Xia Qianshui's smile became a little stiff. In the end, she walked forward with a cold face. The assistant originally thought coming to see the exhibition with the boss was just a whim of the boss's, but the boss bought flowers and also bought a gift. This made the assistant a little surprised. After seeing my name on the exhibition sign at the entrance, the assistant was no longer surprised. Watching the boss walk towards me, the assistant also followed in that direction. Just as he got close, the assistant realized something was wrong. This woman standing next to Mr. Jiang, isn't she the boss's niece? Why is this niece acting so intimately with Mr. Jiang? Just as the assistant was surprised and confused, Gu Yueting spoke up. Aunt? Why are you here? Gu Yueting was a little surprised to see Xia Qianshui. Xia Qianshui was only a few years older than her, so when they were young, their relationship was very good. But later, because of Xia Qianshui's excellence, she was always overshadowed wherever she went. Over time, their affection also faded. Xia Qianshui nodded. Her gaze fell on me. She only saw a flash of surprise in my eyes. It seems he didn't know I was Gu Yueting's aunt, so now that he knows, what will he do? Thinking this, Xia Qianshui then handed over the bouquet in her hands. Congratulations. I saw this beautiful bouquet of red roses and raised my eyebrows in surprise. Then my eyes were filled with joy. Seeing my reaction, the frustration in Xia Qianshui's chest eased a little. Congratulations on the successful exhibition. I tilted my head and smiled at Xia Qianshui. Thank you. Gu Yueting, who was beside me, frowned when she saw this. Her eyes darted back and forth between the two of them. Aunt, do you two know each other? Xia Qianshui answered curtly. Yeah, my expression didn't change. I had a smile on my face. My gaze lingered on Xia Qianshui. Xia Qianshui met my gaze, and her gloomy expression softened a little. The corners of her mouth also curled up slightly. After seeing Gu Yueting beside me, her smile straightened out again. Gu Yueting looked at me with some surprise. Her eyes held a question, but I didn't look at her, so I didn't see her doubt. I didn't pay attention to her either. Gu Yueting didn't get a response. She was a little disappointed, but didn't show it. Xia Qianshui looked at the exhibition pieces around her and said casually, "Show me around." I nodded. Okay, this way. I pointed to the left, then I prepared to go in that direction. I turned back to say to Gu Yueting, "Go look around on your own." Xia Qianshui didn't even glance at Gu Yueting and followed me forward. As I walked, I explained each exhibition piece to Xia Qianshui, its origin and the story behind it. When we reached the middle of the exhibition hall, Xia Qianshui stopped. She turned to look towards the center of the hall, at the painting surrounded by many people. It was the starry sky I had completed at the resort that day. I saw her stop and looked at her with confusion. I saw Xia Qianshui walk towards that painting. I smirked slightly. I stood there and waited. Xia Qianshui got closer. She finally saw the introduction next to the painting. Her heart beat faster. She turned her head to look at me. She only saw me standing in place, smiling at her. At this moment, it seemed as if only the two of them existed in the world. They understood each other's thoughts perfectly, like two perfect pieces of a puzzle. I watched Xia Qianshui stride towards me. I was a little surprised. She had already taken my hand and leaned into my ear. "Where's the lounge?" I pointed in a direction and was pulled away. Arriving at the lounge, Xia Qianshui pushed me against the door. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist, pressing our two bodies together without leaving a single gap. Does that painting mean what I think it means? My back was against the door. I was forced to look straight at Xia Qianshui. Hearing this question, I smirked slightly. "What do you think it means?" Xia Qianshui saw the teasing in my eyes. The corner of her mouth lifted. "You did it on purpose." I laughed. "I don't understand what you're talking about." In the exhibition outside, glasses were clinking. Inside the lounge, it was as hot as fire. Gu Yueting watched me and her aunt leave. She frowned slightly. She took a step forward, wanting to follow. Her shoulder was grabbed. She turned her head and saw Shen Tangning and Su Qing. "Why are you two here?" Su Qing frowned. "What do you mean by that?" "Jiang Haoming is holding an exhibition. Of course we have to come and support him. I heard there's an auction later." Gu Yueting nodded. "Jiang Haoming plans to auction some paintings. Then he will donate the auction money to poor children in mountainous areas to support their education." Su Qing nodded. "That's great. He'll bid on a painting to take home later." Shen Tangning's eyes constantly scanned the exhibition hall, not paying attention to their conversation. When she couldn't see me, she turned to look at Gu Yueting. "Where's Jiang Haoming?" Speaking of this, Gu Yueting frowned. "He and my aunt went in that direction." Shen Tangning frowned. "Your aunt?" Su Qing was also a little surprised. "You mean Xia Qianshui?" Gu Yueting nodded. Then she voiced her suspicion. "I don't know how Jiang Haoming knows my aunt." Shen Tangning also didn't understand, but Su Qing figured it out first. "Isn't it simple? It must be because of investment." Both women looked over. Seeing this, Su Qing felt inexplicably guilty. She touched her nose. She didn't understand. The one who likes Jiang Haoming is Shen Tangning, not her. Why should she feel guilty? Seeing that Shen Tangning had no reaction at all, and that both were waiting for her to explain, Su Qing suppressed her guilt and said, "I've heard before that the investors for Jiang Haoming's exhibition are all partners of Xia Qianshui, plus those paintings." Su Qing pointed to the paintings surrounded by people. "Aren't those the ones Xia Qianshui bought at a previous auction? To be able to place them here, Jiang Haoming must have asked for permission. Just based on your relationship, Xia Qianshui could not give face, so it's normal for Jiang Haoming to give her special treatment. After all, she is the sponsor." This sentence later reached my ears. So I used this line to tease Xia Qianshui and got beaten up by Xia Qianshui a few times. When the second half of the auction began, Xia Qianshui and I went our separate ways. I went on stage and said a few words, then let the host preside over the auction. Most of the artwork sold for a good price. I had contacted a charity organization beforehand and donated all the money on the spot. This action immediately elevated the exhibition. Also, for various other reasons, the media praised me to the top of the search rankings, attracting a lot of discussion and love from fans. It's worth mentioning that the starry sky painting named Southern Dream was bought by Xia Qianshui for a high price. During the auction, Gu Yueting unexpectedly liked this painting too, so she also bid a few times. She even sent a private message to her aunt, asking her to give it to her. Unfortunately, how could Xia Qianshui let a painting with her own signature be bought by someone else? I wasn't surprised by this result at all. After all, Xia Qianshui is that kind of person, self-centered and highly possessive. The exhibition ended. I had just gotten home when I received a message from Xia Qianshui. "Break off the engagement with Gu Yueting. The good stuff is still yet to come. This bit of possessiveness is nothing. What I want is not that simple. Xia Qianshui doesn't know it yet." After sending me the message, Xia Qianshui was extremely excited. After not getting a reply for a long time, she frowned. Then she thought of something. "I've been busy with the exhibition for the past few days. I must be very tired. Perhaps I'm already asleep." So she didn't mind it anymore. After thinking it through, Xia Qianshui started to get busy with work. It wasn't until she finished the work at hand that she realized several days had passed. I still hadn't replied to her. In a flash, it was mid-June. My wedding day with Gu Yueting was approaching. Xia Qianshui looked at her previous message, which had sunk without a trace, and frowned slightly. A few days ago, she took the opportunity to go home and happened to run into her brother. He didn't seem sad about the engagement being broken off at all. On the contrary, his face was full of happiness about his daughter getting married. Cracked the pencil and Xia Qianshui's hand broke. She remembered when she was leaving, her brother had said, "Your niece is getting married soon. You should hurry up too. Last time I went to a party, I saw a few eligible young men who weren't bad. I'll show you their pictures." Xia Qianshui stared at the floor-to-ceiling window not far away, her eyes narrowing. So Jiang Haoming didn't break off the engagement at all. Not only did he not break it off, but he's also about to get married. Thinking of this, Xia Qianshui's face darkened. So what was all that between him and me before? Xia Qianshui tilted her head and looked at the painting hanging in her office, starting to recall every little moment she spent with me. Could it be that she was just being sentimental on her own all along? When the assistant knocked and entered, his breathing became much lighter. The boss's mood has been extremely low recently. He didn't dare to say much, but the assistant thought she must have had a fight with Mr. Jiang. But that day when she returned from Mr. Jiang's exhibition, the boss was clearly in a spring breeze, as bright as a flower. It's only been a short while. Why has she turned into a frostbitten eggplant? The assistant placed the invitation on the boss's desk. Boss, this is the invitation your brother sent. He said he was walking nearby, so he wouldn't come up. After the assistant finished speaking, although he was a bit nervous, he couldn't help but glance at it. He remembered that the boss's brother was quite old. Why would he send an invitation? Could it be like before, tricking the boss into going on a blind date? As soon as he thought about the boss possibly going on a blind date, the assistant suddenly wasn't so scared anymore. If the boss had a fight with Mr. Jiang, it's very likely she'll go on a blind date this time. After all, girls are always trying to use other men to make their own man jealous. He was very familiar with this kind of plot. Xia Qianshui looked at the invitation on the table. The envelope was sealed with the character for happiness. Xia Qianshui had already guessed, but she felt it was impossible. With a dark expression, she opened the invitation. As expected, it was the wedding invitation for me and Gu Yueting. Seeing the boss after she opened the invitation, her expression was extremely ugly. The assistant suddenly became a little flustered. He knew the boss was angry. Not just angry even. He peeked at it and saw it was a wedding invitation. And the groom's name was Zhang Haoming. Zhang Haoming? The assistant's eyes widened as he looked at his boss. Is it the Zhang Haoming that he knows? The assistant didn't understand. Isn't Mr. Zhang dating the boss? Why is he suddenly getting married? Moreover, the wedding invitation was sent by the boss's brother. The assistant guessed wildly while looking at his boss's face. Is it because the boss made him angry, so he decisively married someone else? The assistant's inner monologue was running wild. As for Xia Qianshui, she had no time to care about these things. She grabbed the wedding invitation, stood up, rushed to the parking lot, and drove away, calling me while driving. Hello? The voice on the other end of the line was normal, exactly the same tone as every time she had spoken to him before. It was as if he wasn't the one about to get married. Where are you? I smirked slightly. At the apartment, Xia Qianshui said immediately. Wait for me there. She hung up right after saying that. Xia Qianshui drove towards my apartment. I have a few houses myself. I don't always live with my parents. Besides, the Gu family is definitely sending out invitations these days. After Xia Qianshui received the invitation, she would probably come looking for me, so I decided to stay out. In less than half an hour, Xia Qianshui arrived. I had just opened the door when my wrist was pulled. Then I was pushed against the back of the door. I told you to break off the engagement with Gu Yueting. Didn't you get the message? Xia Qianshui grabbed my wrist with one hand and held up the wedding invitation with the other. Is this what you give me after breaking off the engagement? Other than being startled at first, there was no trace of fear in my eyes. Looking at the woman in front of me, whose eyes were red with anger, a smile appeared on my face. This engagement isn't easy to break. We've been engaged for so long. If I break it off right after I get back, so you just listen and obediently marry Gu Yueting? Xia Qianshui felt like she was about to go crazy with anger. What kind of ridiculous reason is this? Not easy to break the engagement? It's just an engagement. What's so hard about breaking it? Before I went abroad, Gu Yueting's father was already unhappy. Now if I break off the engagement right after returning, how angry would he be? I said nonchalantly, taking the path of least resistance, completely unafraid of Xia Qianshui. Xia Qianshui felt like her lungs were about to explode. This man, in every way, had the appearance she liked the most. Especially that small mouth. She had even tasted it before. Soft. She liked it a lot. But now, that very mouth she liked was uttering words that could make her explode. If it's not convenient for you to say it, then let me say it. I quickly pulled her back. Don't. I don't want to hear any rumors. Xia Qianshui finally realized the problem. She calmed down, her eyes staring at me. Leaning in, Zhang Haoming, do you want to break off the engagement? I wiped the smile from my face, looked at Xia Qianshui, and said nothing. The two of them looked at each other in silence for a long time. Xia Qianshui nodded and laughed coldly. I understand. I was just being sentimental. After saying that, she let go of me and opened the door to leave. Reaching her car, Xia Qianshui finally couldn't hold it in and kicked the tire. Xia Qianshui's assistant discovered that ever since the boss ran off with the wedding invitation last time, her expression had become even darker upon her return. The atmosphere was even heavier than before, no longer a frostbitten eggplant, but a suppressed volcano about to erupt. He could feel that the boss was about to explode. Xia Qianshui called back the assistant who was about to go out. Go investigate someone for me. The assistant stopped in his tracks, hearing this before he could even turn around. His eyes immediately widened. Then he turned around with a normal expression and quietly awaited his orders. But inside he was screaming, "Here it comes! The gossip is waving at me." When he saw that the person he needed to investigate was the boss's niece, Gu Yueting, the assistant was even more shocked. Maybe on July 18th, the boss will go and snatch the bride. Therefore, the assistant investigated without missing a single detail. He quickly found some clues. Boss, this is about what happened after Mr. Jiang went abroad. Regarding Ms. Gus' situation, please take a look. Xia Qianshui opened the file. The first page was a photo of me and Gu Yueting together. She frowned, looking at my bright smile, then turned to the next page. Seeing a photo of a strange man, Xia Qianshui frowned. The assistant standing beside her saw this and quickly explained, this is the lover that Ms. Gu took in after Mr. Jiang went abroad. Xia Qianshui turned her head to look at the assistant. What did you say? The assistant understood his boss's shock. When he investigated this news, he was also extremely shocked. So he continued to explain, this is the lover Ms. Gu took in. His name is Song Jingsing. He's a university student from a single-parent family. His mother is hospitalized with an illness, and Ms. Gu is paying for all the medical and hospital bills. Furthermore, Ms. Gu also gave Song Jingsing an apartment. Even if it's not explicitly said, who wouldn't know this is a sugar daddy situation? Besides, when Mr. Jiang went abroad, he didn't break up with Ms. Gu. They even have an engagement. If Ms. Gu wasn't keeping him as a lover, could she have been looking for a boyfriend? Xia Qianshui flipped through the file, her eyes filled with anger and shock. Is this the person he is about to marry? The assistant looked at his boss's angry expression and couldn't help but say, but I think Mr. Jiang probably knows about this. Xia Qianshui tilted her head again to look at her assistant. The assistant endured the discomfort of being stared at and explained, Mr. Jiang is so smart. After he returned from abroad, whether it was holding an exhibition or anything else, it was all to find you, boss, not to find Ms. Gu. That shows he isn't too attached to Ms. Gu, but they are fiancés, and their relationship in college was so good. The assistant wiped the sweat from his forehead, bowed his head and continued, that shows there's a rift between Mr. Jiang and Ms. Gu. Besides, at the last exhibition, you saw it too, boss. Ms. Gu was always very deferential to Mr. Jiang. Even when treated coldly, she wasn't angry at all. It looked like she was trying to atone for something. Seeing that his boss's expression had improved, the assistant secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Actually, he also wanted to say, he felt that I approached the boss. Most likely because I knew Ms. Gu was keeping another man, so I was intentionally seeking revenge, and his boss was just a tool I used for revenge against Ms. Gu. Unfortunately, he didn't dare to say this out loud. Did the boss think of it? He didn't know and didn't want to know. Xia Qianshui looked at the file in her hands and frowned. After a long silence, she put the file away, only taking out a few photos. In the photo, Gu Yueting was comforting Song Jingsing in front of a hospital room. Gu Yueting was taking Song Jingsing shopping. Gu Yueting took Song Jingsing to meet friends. There was also a photo of Gu Yueting and Song Jingsing returning to the apartment together. Every photo showed that their relationship was anything but normal. Xia Qianshui gave the photos to her assistant. Send them to him anonymously. The assistant was stunned, took them, and asked a question. Send them to Mr. Jiang? Xia Qianshui leaned back in her chair and nodded. Then she closed her eyes. She thought to herself, it'll give him one more chance. If he breaks off the engagement with Gu Yueting this time, then all the other things, whether they happened or not, she could let them all go. The assistant complied, hurrying off to do it. I was at home trying on a wedding suit when I received an anonymous package. I raised an eyebrow slightly. Shen Tangning stood beside me, watching the man she loved wear a suit for someone else. Her heart felt like it was bleeding. When she saw the anonymous package, Shen Tangning frowned. Worried it might be something bad, she told me to step back a little, so she could open it herself. When she saw the photos inside, Shen Tangning's frown deepened. I stood, at a distance, watching Shen Tangning's unhappy expression, but I was no longer as tense as before. It probably wasn't anything dangerous. So I walked over. What is it? Shen Tangning closed the package, not wanting to let me see. It's better if you don't look. I frowned, brushed her hand away, and opened the package myself. Then I saw all the photos inside. Shen Tangning watched as Zhang Haoming, wearing the suit, sat on the sofa, looking at the photos one by one, her heart aching. She came and squatted in front of me. Don't look anymore. I pulled one from the middle and handed it to Shen Tangning. When Shen Tangning saw it, her eyes immediately filled with panic. She looked at me hurriedly. In that photo, Gu Yueting took Song Jingsing and Shen Tangning to a gathering. Shen Tangning was looking at Song Jingsing, smiling very happily. No, it's not like that. At that time I lowered my head slightly, leaning close in front of Shen Tangning, our breaths mingling. Shen Tangning, since I've been back this time, I always feel like you are no longer just my friend. You have someone else. My broken way of speaking made Shen Tangning's heart skip a beat. She hurriedly tried to defend herself. No, I'm still yours, I don't have. I shook my head, indicating I didn't want to hear anymore. You should go home. You don't need to try on clothes with me anymore. A sentence as light as a cloud seemed to have pushed Shen Tangning into hell. She stood frozen on the spot. Zhang Haoming. I turned my face away, not looking at her anymore. Please, leave me alone. Shen Tangning had no other choice but to get up and leave. Before she left, she added one more thing. If you need me, then call me. No matter what I'm doing, I'll come right away. After a moment's thought, Shen Tangning added another sentence. In my heart, no one can replace you or take your place. After trampling on someone, Shen Tangning left. It's just that after she got back, she kept staring at her phone, just waiting for me to call her. On my end, as soon as Shintangning left, I returned to normal. Looking at the photos in my hand, I wondered who sent them. Song Jinxing, or the rich young ladies I had offended before? Or Xia Qianshui? The employee from the bridal shop brought in another suit. Mr. Jiang, please take a look at this one. I looked up at the employee. I'll try it on. After trying it on, the effect was indeed very good. I was quite satisfied. The employee next to me saw this and also began to praise it. Mr. Jiang, this suit suits you very well. Last month when it was just finished, the designer said this suit is very picky. An ordinary person can't pull it off. You look great in it, Mr. Jiang. It's as if it were tailor-made for you. The employee praised it for a long time, before saying something else. This suit hasn't been sold yet. Mr. Jiang, you could buy the rights from the designer. That way it would be one of a kind. I looked at the employee with an appreciative gaze, then asked, does it have a matching wedding dress? The employee nodded. Yes, it does. I brought it too. Let me go get it for you to see. The wedding dress was white, with a flower made of pearls on the chest, very unique and beautiful. The employee saw the satisfaction in the customer's eyes and quickly said, but the girl from earlier is a bit thin. This dress might be a little loose, needs some alterations, but we can get it done very quickly. I shook my head. No need. This is the one. The employee's lips twitched, wondering if he should try to persuade me further. After all, if it doesn't look good on the day, it might become his responsibility. Besides, the groom in front of him was so handsome, how could he bear to let such a handsome man have a less than perfect wedding? Just as he was about to open his mouth, I spoke first. It's not for her. No alterations needed. The employee stood stunned, still unable to react, when he heard another sentence. Oh, right. Your company is handling all the wedding planning this time, right? Yes. Then you will be in charge of my wedding. I will talk to your person in charge. The employee was stunned. He had never been in charge of a wedding by himself before. Was this a promotion? My words naturally had an effect. Very quickly, this employee, who is Chu Wan, became the person in charge of planning my wedding. Chu Wan thought, a handsome man must have an absolutely amazing wedding, so he poured all his heart and soul into the wedding venue. Rich people don't lack money, just make it as perfect as possible, as luxurious as possible. So Chu Wan went all out at the venue. When someone came to tell him he had to go for the bride's fitting, he only arranged for 1 or 2 people to go. He didn't go himself. It wasn't until later that he reacted. Chu Wan wondered, could it be that the bride didn't like the wedding dress that Mr. Jiang had chosen? After the person who went for the fitting came back, Chu Wan specifically asked which dress the bride had chosen. Learning that the bride had chosen a high-end dark blue one, although Chu Wan felt some regret, he also felt it was suitable, so he didn't think about it anymore. On the wedding day, I sent a message to Xia Qianshui in advance. Xia Qianshui looked at the wedding dress on the table and the message I had sent, and smashed everything she could in the office. The assistant standing beside her watched in horror. He thought to himself, could it be that the boss has offended Mr. Jiang? Otherwise, why would he send her a wedding dress, and also instruct her that she must attend? Xia Qianshui looked at the assistant. Those photos, are you sure you sent them? The assistant nodded. I'm sure. The first time it was sent, Mr. Jiang didn't react at all. After that, he even found a delivery person. He specifically showed him a photo of Mr. Jiang to deliver it directly into the other party's hands. He only left after watching the other party sign for it and open it. So Mr. Jiang must have seen it. Regarding this, the assistant was even more certain. Mr. Jiang definitely knew beforehand. Seeing his boss's furious expression, the assistant couldn't help but ask, so boss, are you going to this wedding? Xia Qianshui tilted her head and looked over. Going. Why wouldn't I go? Doesn't he hope I'll go? The assistant nodded. Understood. I'll go make some arrangements then. I'll push back the schedule a bit. The wedding day. Chu Wan was very nervous. She looked at the groom in front of her. She couldn't help but take a breath. Although she had met him before, she was still stunned today. Everything is ready. In a moment, you'll follow me. We'll enter the hall first. Chu Wan gently instructed me. Then she listened to the activity in her earpiece. She led me to the banquet hall door to wait. Chu Wan looked at the time. She communicated through her earpiece. The groom is about to enter. 3.2.1. The doors opened and I slowly walked towards the center of the banquet hall. My feet moved to the rhythm of the background music. Ahead there was also a little girl scattering flowers. As I walked, I heard the system murmuring in my mind. Host, what if the male lead comes? Does the host really want to marry the male lead? If you really get married? I stopped in the center of the hall. I tilted my head slightly, just in time to see Xia Qianshui sitting to my right. And Xia Qianshui was wearing the white dress I had sent over myself. Very beautiful. I smirked slightly, smiling. I don't know who it was. Who was stunned by the groom's looks first? They gasped. A few people gathered together, and the sound became a little loud. The assistant sitting next to his boss also widened his eyes. Although he had met Mr. Jiang before, he was still stunned. The assistant couldn't help but look a few more times. Then he felt something was wrong. He leaned close to his boss's side and whispered, CEO Xia, your clothes and Mr. Jiang's. They seem to be a set look. The assistant remembered that the clothes his boss was wearing were sent by me. Xia Qianshui was stunned. Hearing these words, she carefully examined my suit again. It really did seem to be a set with her dress. The pearls corresponded with each other. The floral patterns also corresponded. It was like a set. The assistant didn't quite understand. He spoke with confusion. Could it be that Mr. Jiang brought the wrong one? Xia Qianshui looked up at me on the stage. The wrong one? She didn't believe I would do something like that. To say it wasn't intentional. Xia Qianshui didn't believe that either. But Xia Qianshui also didn't know what my purpose was. Xia Qianshui looked up and stared at me on the stage. I smiled, standing there gently and freely. I didn't seem to feel anything was wrong. Seeing that she didn't have any particular reaction, what on earth does he want to do? Standing at the door, after seeing the groom enter, Chuan bent down, preparing to follow inside. Her gaze swept past, and she saw a woman sitting nearby. Her eyes widened. What attracted her, of course, wasn't the woman, but the wedding dress she was wearing. Isn't that wedding dress? The one that matches the groom's suit? Chuan was stunned for a moment. She recalled my smile from the day we chose the dress. Then she remembered just now, the appearance of the bride, Gu Yueting, whom she had met. She couldn't help but start to imagine. Can't be what she's thinking, can it? Scaring herself. Chuan then heard a voice in her earpiece. The bride can come on stage now. Let the bride come on stage. Chuan turned her head to look towards the hall entrance. She had a bad feeling. As expected, the door remained closed, because the bride, Gu Yueting, did not appear. The guests gradually started to murmur. Chuan looked at me with some worry, only to see me standing there smiling, seemingly unaffected at all. Chuan's heart beat faster and faster, until she heard a shout in her earpiece. The bride has disappeared. Chuan, on the contrary, let out a sigh of relief. She ordered in a low voice, go find her. Father and Mother Gu saw that Gu Yueting still hadn't appeared. They frowned. Mother Gu stood up, looked worriedly in that direction, and asked Father Gu, still not coming out? Father Gu also frowned, but he remained firmly seated. It's probably part of the plan. Hearing that, Mother Gu didn't relax much. She kept staring in that direction, staring intently at that door. Her expression revealed tension and unease. Her complexion became a little ugly. The gazes directed towards the Gu family were not very friendly. Father Gu gave an appeasing smile. He hurriedly called his sister Xia Qianshui over. Go backstage and see why Gu Yueting hasn't come out yet. Xia Qianshui also found it strange. She glanced at me, then nodded, and walked towards the backstage area. As soon as she left the hall, she heard the staff outside discussing. The bride ran away. How could this happen? I don't know, there's no one in the dressing room. Weren't they engaged for a long time? Why would she run away? I don't know, it's my first time seeing a runaway bride. Poor Mr. Jiang. Xia Qianshui frowned. She turned and went to the dressing room. Indeed, there was no one inside. She hurriedly called Gu Yueting. No one answered for a long time. The assistant also followed her over. Boss, what should we do now? Xia Qianshui frowned and continued to call Gu Yueting. In the hall, the guests were all getting restless, whispering amongst themselves. This is a runaway bride. Seems so. I see everyone looking for the bride. This isn't even a business marriage. Why would she do something like this? The Gu family is so shameless. If she didn't want to get married, couldn't she have just said so beforehand? Exactly. Making that family's boy lose face here. The Jiang family is so unlucky to have run into the Gu family. I heard the murmurs. I saw that the time was almost right. So I turned my head and looked around, just in time to catch Chuan's eye. I smirked slightly and beckoned to her with my finger. Chuan was hearing in her earpiece that the bride couldn't be found. When she saw me wave at her, she looked around and found that she was the only one standing on this side, so she walked to the side of the T stage and climbed up. Mr. Jiang, what is it? I smiled gently. Change the bride. Chuan's eyes widened. I patted her shoulder. You remember? The owner of that outfit? Change it to her. Chuan was stunned for 2 seconds. Hearing all the pitying words from Mr. Jiang around her, she frowned and nodded at me. She turned and walked towards the dressing room. She remembered that she had just seen that person go in that direction. While walking, she spoke into her earpiece, telling someone to stop Miss Xia. Su Qing looked at this chaotic scene. Her brows furrowed tightly. She looked at Shen Tangning beside her. What do you think Gu Yueting is doing? Isn't this just embarrassing Jiang Haoming? Shen Tangning shook her head expressionlessly. I don't know. Feeling that the atmosphere of the person next to her was a bit strange, Su Qing leaned in and whispered a question. You didn't pull some trick, did you? Shen Tangning glanced at her and said nothing. Su Qing slapped her thigh. Feeling the gazes from around them, she put her hand down. Feeling the gazes of everyone around looking over, she lowered her voice again. What did you do? Shen Tangning shook her head. I just told her the news about Song Jingxing's mother, that her condition is critical, that's all. How she chooses is her business. Xia Qianshui was about to return to the banquet hall. When she was stopped by someone, she frowned slightly. The assistant also hurriedly spoke up. What are you doing? That staff member was also a bit stunned. He hurriedly said, Mom, please wait a moment. Just wait for 2 minutes. Seeing this, the assistant felt something was wrong. He prepared to rush out. At this very moment, Chu Wan rushed over and stood in front of Xia Qianshui. Mom, do you know that the clothes you're wearing are the matching wedding dress for the groom's suit? Chu Wan asked hurriedly. Xia Qianshui was stunned. She had indeed guessed it before. But why was this? Chu Wan continued. So you are today's bride. The assistant was dumbfounded. Weren't they here to attend a wedding? How did it turn into them getting married? Xia Qianshui looked at Chu Wan. Did Jiang Haoming tell you to come? Chu Wan nodded. Mr. Jiang said the person wearing this outfit is today's bride. Mom, how about this? You go to the waiting area first. My makeup artist will do a little touch-up for you. Also, do you have any photos? Can you give me a few? I'll replace them. The assistant reacted. He hurriedly stepped forward. In front of his boss. I have them. He'll send them to you. Chu-won pulled someone over. Send them to him. Then she looked at Xia Qianshui. Ma'am, let's go over there. We have to enter the hall soon. Xia Qianshui felt like she was in a dream. Her feet unconsciously followed Chu-won over. Standing at the entrance to the hall, Xia Qianshui still felt it was unreal. She tilted her head and saw Chu-won beside her, giving orders into an earpiece. Just then, she saw the other person turn their head. Mom, what is your name? I need to change the name. Xia Qianshui took a business card from her bag and gave it to her, and said, by the way, later, you can leave your business card with my assistant. In the future, if I have clients who want to get married, I can refer them all to you. When Chu-won heard this, she felt a lot of money flying towards her. She smiled at the other person. Miss Xia, get ready. We're about to enter the hall. With that, Chu-won looked at the door. All right, get ready. Bride enters. 3, 2, 1, go. The large doors opened. Xia Qianshui was still a little dazed. She took a deep breath, feeling more nervous now than for anything she had ever done before. Almost as soon as the door opened, everyone's eyes turned back. Everyone was a little surprised. Didn't they say the bride ran away? Xia Qianshui saw me turning my head to look over too. She saw a bit of cunning in my smiling eyes. She couldn't help but smile. Then she walked over. Old Master Xia was already fidgety. Because his granddaughter was getting married, he had called all his relatives and friends to come. After all, he wasn't sure he could wait until his own daughter got married, so he could only take the opportunity of his granddaughter's wedding to celebrate a little, invite some more relatives and friends to make it more lively. But as a result, the wedding had already begun, and that granddaughter of his still hadn't appeared. No matter what the issue was, she shouldn't just leave that family's boy here. Old Master Xia was a little disappointed in his son and daughter-in-law. He felt they didn't know how to raise their child. Just as he was about to tell everyone to go home, he was called back. First, uncle, isn't that Qianshui? Yes, great-grandpa, how did youngest aunt become the bride? That's right. Isn't Gu Yueting getting married today? As they were wondering, they turned to confirm the LED screen at the venue, and discovered it said, Welcome, distinguished guests, to the wedding of Xia Qianshui and Jiang Haoming. Old Master Xia thought he had misheard. He craned his neck and asked, What's that, kids? Who did you say is getting married? First, uncle, it's Qianshui. Look, isn't that Qianshui standing on the stage? Yes, great-grandpa, it's youngest aunt. Old Master Xia turned his head to look. Although he was old, his eyes were very sharp. With one glance, he saw the person standing there waiting. The bride was his own daughter. The old master was overjoyed. Xia, ha, my daughter is getting married today. Nobody leave, eat and drink your fill. The younger generations looked at each other. Their expressions weren't very good. One look and you could tell there was a problem with this wedding, changing the bride at the last minute. No matter how you look at it, this is strange. Unfortunately, the old master was too happy. They didn't dare to object. After all, if the old master wasn't in charge of the Xia family, then Xia Qianshui was. There was nothing they could do. It was better to just celebrate lively. So as soon as the old master finished speaking, a crowd of people hurriedly said, Congratulations, congratulations! Finally getting married, the two of you look so well matched. Truly a talented man and a beautiful woman. Yes, that's right. Very well matched, very well matched. The old master was very happy. His smile reached his ears. Xia ha 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 ha. Well matched, well matched. This old man has never in his life thought there would be a day like this. Everyone, eat to your heart's content. Drink to your heart's content. Tonight, this old man will treat you kids to karaoke. Oh no. The young niece next to him quickly said, Great-grandpa, it's KTV. The old master nodded. Right, it's KTV. I'll treat you all to KTV. Mother Gu looked at the people on stage and frowned. How did it become Qianshui? Isn't it Gu Yueting? As she spoke, she turned to look at the introduction display next to them, and found that the photos had all been changed to Xia Qianshui's. Mother Gu hurriedly looked at Father Gu. What is going on? Father Gu frowned, but remained as steady as Mount Tai. Just as he was about to say nonsense, a staff member came over from the other side. Excuse me, you two. You may need to change seats. This is the seating area for the bride and groom's family. As the staff member spoke, he pointed behind him. Old Master Xia was already being helped over. Mother Gu called out mournfully, Dad, what mess are you getting into now? Old Master Xia glared at her. Still talking about making a mess? You're clearly the ones making a mess. Go on now, go on. Don't get in the way of me talking to my in-laws. After speaking, Old Master Xia walked up to my parents. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, I am Xia Qianshui's father, Xia de Hua. First time meeting, I look forward to your guidance. My parents were also confused, but their good upbringing prevented them from being cold to others. They also extended their hands to greet Old Master Xia. Old Master Xia was very naturally friendly. After sitting down, he waved his hand. Sit, everyone, sit. Let's sit and talk. The in-laws will have to go on stage later. Father Gu and Mother Gu were led to sit in the relatives section. Father Gu looked at Mother Gu with a dark face. Call that girl. Tell her to come back quickly. If she still doesn't come back, her husband will be gone. On the other side, the wedding proceeded normally. Over here, the relatives from the Xia family, looking at father and mother Gus' livid faces, couldn't help but laugh and taunt. Yo, little brother, why didn't your Gu come? Doesn't she know she's getting married today? Father Gu watched them mock him in all sorts of ways right to his face. He was both angry and worried. Now his son-in-law was about to become his brother-in-law. He was about to become the most awkward person here. Father Gu couldn't help but resent me. If he hadn't suddenly changed the bride, he and the Gu family wouldn't have fallen into such an awkward situation. The men beside him secretly glanced at each other. They had been fighting for half their lives. How could they not know what Father Gu was thinking? They couldn't help but taunt him again. Some people are just selfish, can't manage their own daughter well, but instead want to push the blame onto others. So disgusting. Who in this circle doesn't know that before Mr. Jiang returned, Gu Yueting had already brought someone before us? I've met him several times. He looks very stingy and miserly. I don't know what Sister Gu Yueting likes about him, but since Gu Yueting suddenly ran away today, it's probably related to him. You don't need to worry about Gu Yueting's marriage. Maybe in a few days, Gu Yueting will bring him to your door. Then you'll have a good son-in-law. Father Gus' face turned pale. He looked blankly at Mother Gu. Weren't our daughter and Jiang Haoming in a relationship based on free love? Why did another man appear? Mother Gu had only one expression from beginning to end. Hearing this, she also frowned. Her face darkened, and she said nothing. On the other side, my mother stepped onto the stage. She held out her arm for me to take, smiling. My mother didn't immediately lead me towards the bride, but looked at me. If you don't like it, you don't have to get married. You don't need to worry about the other things. Mom will handle it. I know. For a mother who only knows how to research cells, to be able to say such words is not easy at all. Previously, when the two families discussed the wedding, it was always my dad who discussed the details. Mom would just listen from the side. She hardly said anything. Today, besides the Jiang family relatives, there were also my mother's colleagues and leaders from the laboratory. If I didn't get married because the bride ran away, then my parents would definitely be affected. Mom, it's not that I don't like her. Look at the clothes she's wearing. They were originally a set with mine. Hearing this, my mother looked towards Xia Qianshui, who was standing not far away. She felt that she was a dignified person. Plus, what old Master Xia had said earlier about a few things regarding Xia Qianshui's upbringing, she actually had some admiration for Xia Qianshui. But her own son could not suffer a loss. If you like her, then get married. But if she doesn't treat you well, don't you endure it. Our family doesn't need to read other people's faces. I smiled, the corners of my eyes a little moist. I really can't stand it when people are good to me. Yes. Only then did my mother lead me step by step towards the woman standing not far away. When we got closer, my mother looked at Xia Qianshui. Treat my son well. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Xia Qianshui had a solemn expression. Mother, I will treat him well. I looked at the serious expressions of the two women. My mother handed me over to Xia Qianshui. Watching the two of them walk away together, the corners of her mouth curved into a smile. Then walked off the stage. Old Master Xia's eyes were also a little moist. Seeing my mother come down, he quickly stood up to greet her. In-law, please sit. Please sit. My father had already spoken with the old master for a while. He had a clear understanding of the Xia family situation. He knew that my joining the Xia family wouldn't involve complicated relationships. Moreover, the young couple would live separately. The relationship with relatives is also good. After all, the other members of the Xia family all rely on Xia Qianshui to live. They wouldn't intentionally target us in their hearts. Dad felt that the Xia family was a bit better than the Gu family. Thinking of the Gu family, Dad's expression turned a little ugly. This time, the Gu family went too far. Just now, when Gu Yueting disappeared, the Gu family didn't react by apologizing or looking for her. In short, there was no indication that they wanted to resolve the matter. Isn't this just pushing me to a dead end? Dad is not a vengeful person, but this time, he will remember it. On the other side, the Make was adjusting the atmosphere, because he was someone Chu Yuan found. His abilities were very good. With just a few words, he warmed up the cold atmosphere again. Then it was time for the elders to give their speeches. The Mek invited Old Master Xia onto the stage. Old Master Xia happily went up. To be festive today, he wore a very fitting Sun Yat-sen suit. Old Master Xia stood on the stage, holding the microphone, extremely happy. Today my daughter is getting married. I am very happy. I used to think that with my daughter's personality, she might not get married. When she was young, she said that when she grew up, she would work in my place. Now it seems, she really did it. Old Master Xia said a lot, and I listened. At the same time, I tilted my head to look at Xia Qianshui. Xia Qianshui noticed, and also turned her head to look at me, smiling. If he brings up my embarrassing childhood stories later, don't listen. I laughed loudly, then I'll have to ask a lot more. To see what embarrassing stories Xia has from her childhood, Xia Qianshui hugged my waist, couldn't help but rub against my palm. She whispered in my ear, "You like it that much?" "I'll tell you tonight," I chuckled, and raised my head to continue watching the old master speak. The old master didn't speak for too long and started to conclude his speech. Today, my daughter is getting married. On this happy occasion, I'd also like to make an announcement. I will give 10% of the shares under my name to my son-in-law, Jiang Haoming. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone who knew the situation exploded. On the other side, the Messi told us to exchange rings. Su King looked at Shen Tangning's pale face and didn't dare to speak. Shen Tangning stared intently at the two people on stage. If it were Gu Yueting, she could still understand it and could force herself to reluctantly accept it. But this person was not Gu Yueting, but a Xia Qian Shui who came out of nowhere. Su King sighed, watching her sister get a taste of her own medicine. She couldn't help but feel regretful. Su King thought for a moment and finally spoke. Why don't you tell Gu Yueting to come back? At least this wedding won't be able to proceed, otherwise the ceremony will be over soon. Shen Tangning frowned. How could she not have thought of that? But if she told Gu Yueting to come back now, what would Jiang Haoming do? She couldn't push Jiang Haoming into an awkward position time and time again, so Shen Tangning did nothing. As for Gu Yueting, it's fine if she comes back, and it's fine if she doesn't, Shen Tangning thought. The other party must already be on Jiang Haoming's blacklist. After all, I am still Jiang Haoming's good friend. Su King saw that Shen Tangning was silent and said another sentence. It's just a wedding ceremony. They haven't registered the marriage yet. There's still a chance for this matter. You don't have to worry too much. When Shen Tangning heard this, her expression softened a bit. It's true. They haven't registered their marriage yet? There's still a chance for this matter, but they didn't expect that. Gu Yueting had actually already returned. Unfortunately, she couldn't even get through the gate. Chu Yuan had thought about it ever since the bride was switched. If the original bride had a problem with her head and ran back, then today would truly be a farce. He wouldn't allow me to suffer this humiliation, and he wouldn't allow his own career to have this stain. So, he gathered many staff members to block the main gate. He showed them a photo of Gu Yueting and told them to block her. Don't let her in. Xia Qianshui's assistant was busy with them the whole time. Hearing Chu Yuan say that Gu Yueting might come back, he hurriedly made a call and summoned a group of bodyguards. They blocked the main gate completely. Not even a fly could get in, let alone a person. When Gu Yueting rushed back, she was faced with several human walls. Frowning in her haste, she charged straight in. Please make way. I have something urgent. The human wall didn't budge. A manager spoke up. I'm sorry. No one is allowed to pass here. Gu Yueting didn't understand. She was in a hurry. What are you all doing? Did something happen inside? I'm sorry. A wedding is being held inside. No one is allowed to disturb it. Gu Yueting found it absurd. I am the bride. You won't let me in? How can they have a wedding inside? The bodyguard stared at her, not quite believing her. If you are the bride, why are you only arriving now? The wedding has already started. Gu Yueting sighed, looking at the dense human wall in front of her. She could only explain patiently. I had something to do, so I came out from inside. Please let me in first. Otherwise, the wedding won't be able to continue. The bodyguard was unmoved, not even glancing at her from the corner of his eye. Gu Yueting was anxious. She wanted to take out her phone to make a call, only to realize she had forgotten where she left her phone. In her hurry, she saw a person in uniform. That was the person who had brought her the formal dress earlier. She hurriedly called out, Hey, hello. Please tell them that I am. Tell them to let me in, please. That staff member looked over, glanced at the two human walls, then walked over. Gu Yueting was overjoyed, waiting for him to open his mouth and clarify with the bodyguards so she could go back. But as it turned out, the staff member walked over, took a look at the bodyguard's situation, then pointed to a person in the human wall. Behind, go inside and help out. The bride and groom have started making their toasts. It's too busy inside. The person who was called came out. Only then did Gu Yueting see that behind the bodyguards, that human wall was made up of staff members. That person came out and looked towards the people blocking the way here. Thank you for your hard work. I'll bring some wedding candy out for you guys later. The head bodyguard nodded, then continued to block the door. Gu Yueting was shocked. What's wrong with you all? I am the bride. If I don't go in, how can the groom make the toasts? Xia Qianshui and I started making toasts when we got to Father Gu and Mother Gu's table. My smile faded a little. Mother Gu didn't stand up. Neither did Father Gu. Xia Qiangsh frowned slightly and called out, Brother? Father Gu snorted and ignored her. Mother Gu also sat there without moving. I didn't feel awkward either. I just smiled and waved at Chu Yuan. Chu Yuan saw it and quickly came over. He handed me 2 red envelopes and then took my wine glass. I smilingly placed the 2 red envelopes in front of them. Speaking of which, I should change how I address you today. This is a special red envelope for you, brother and sister-in-law. Please accept it. The people nearby looked at the thickness of the red envelopes and raised their eyebrows slightly. Could this be an attempt to curry favor? They immediately looked at me scrutinizingly. I straightened up. Xia Qianshui leaned in from the side, protecting me in her embrace. Seeing Father Gus' face darken directly with an indifferent expression, I chuckled. Brother, sister-in-law, you can open them and see. Perhaps you won't be so angry after you see what's inside. After speaking, Xia Qianshui and I turned to the other relatives. The others couldn't show such an attitude and offend people. They quickly stood up. Both sides chatted very happily. Father Gu heard my words and saw my natural expression. Fearing there was something fishy, he hurriedly opened the red envelope. Everyone at the table looked over. Although no one was short on money, the excitement was always very appealing. Just as Father Gu opened the red envelope, the contents spilled out. It all fell onto the tabletop, photo after photo. On them were all intimate photos of Gu Yueting and another man. They were immediately exposed before everyone's eyes. I don't know who screamed, which immediately attracted many people to look over. Anyone with sharp eyes could see those photos, their gazes towards father and mother. Gu immediately turned sour. When Mother Gu saw this, she frowned slightly and also opened her own red envelope. It was also a stack of photos. The main characters were the same, only the background was different, like a newlywed couple. Mother Gus' face immediately turned even darker. I saw that everyone around had pretty much seen everything. Then I said with a surprised expression, "How could I have taken the wrong ones?" As I spoke, I turned and took back from Chuyuan's hand 2 ordinary, thin, red envelopes. "These should be the right ones. I'm sorry, brother, sister-in-law." Xia Qianshui, seeing this scene from the side, couldn't help but shake her head and laugh. She knew I hold a grudge. After speaking, I turned my head towards the relative who had just stood up and properly made a toast with Xia Qianshui, completely ignoring the awkwardness of father and mother Gu. Although I said I gave them the wrong ones, I didn't take the photos back. We finished toasting this table, and as we were about to move to the next one, I happened to be next to Father Gu, so I leaned over and whispered a few words to him. "Uncle?" I gave Gu Yueting a chance, but she didn't cherish it. She abandoned me on our wedding day to find someone else. "Please, pass on a message to her for me. Tell her not to appear in front of me again in the future." Father Gus' expression froze. He hurriedly gathered the photos on the table. Seeing the gazes of everyone around him, Father Gu quickly pulled Mother Gu and left. Mother Gu led Father Gu away. Immediately, the entire banquet became cheerful. After the banquet ended, Xia Qianshui and I said goodbye to both sets of parents in the parking lot. After watching them all get in their cars and leave, the two of us drove to Xia Qianshui's house. The assistant drove while marveling at his own abilities. During the wedding banquet, he was worried about the banquet on this side, while also having to quickly decorate the bridal chamber. The assistant thought, "I just hope that when the boss comes back and sees it, she'll reward me with some money." I arrived at Xia Qianshui's residence, then said goodbye to the assistant. The two of us went home together. When I opened the door, my eyes lit up. At the entrance, there was a heart shape made of roses. The originally plain white wall was covered with double happiness characters. The living room lights were also changed to a warm yellow. The coffee table was full of wedding candy. I went into the room. After opening the bedroom door, I saw the wedding quilt on the bed and red balloons in the room. I couldn't help but laugh, and turned my head to look at Xia Qianshui. Xia Qianshui took a look around and also raised her eyebrows. Then she picked me up from behind and placed me on the bed. Then she pressed down on me. "Speak. When did you start planning this with me?" I raised my eyebrows. "What plan?" Xia Qianshui played with my hair. "What plan, you ask?" "Of course, the plan with this bride." I laughed loudly. "I just wanted to make Gu Yueting uncomfortable. There was no plan. Who knew she would run away?" "I didn't expect this step either." Xia Qianshui's eyes looked at me without a trace of belief. "Why did you choose me?" I tilted my head, pretending to think seriously, and slowly said, "I had originally considered someone else." Xia Qianshui tightened her grip on my waist, looking at me fiercely. "No matter who you thought of, from today onwards, you can only think of me. No one else is allowed." I laughed loudly. My eyes were full of joy. Xia Qianshui also curled her lips into a smile, but she still couldn't help but make him promise her, "Did you hear me?" I nodded. "I heard you." As for Gu Yueting, she stood at the door, borrowing a phone and pleading, but they wouldn't let her in. She was almost in despair. Just when she had lost all hope, she saw that bodyguard receive a phone call and then wave his hand. The human wall in front of her immediately dispersed. When Gu Yueting saw this, she hurriedly rushed in to the hall. Only then did she discover that the wedding was over. A staff member cleaning the scene saw her, thought she had dropped something, and quickly asked, "Miss, can I help you?" Gu Yueting hurriedly asked him, "Where's the wedding? The wedding is over." The staff member looked at the woman, who didn't even make it in time for the banquet. His eyes showed a hint of pity. Gu Yueting couldn't believe it was over. How could it be over without a bride? Was it cancelled? The staff member was stunned. There was a bride. The bride and groom finished the ceremony. After the toasts and the meal, everyone has gone home. But the bride was really beautiful. The groom was also very handsome. As expected, beautiful people look best together. Gu Yueting heard these words and felt that the wedding here wasn't hers and Zhang Haoming's. Otherwise, how could there be a bride? Thinking of something, Gu Yueting hurriedly went to the underground garage. Someone must still be here. Still in the garage. Sure enough, Su King was in the garage, consoling Shen Tengning. "All right, Shen, don't be sad anymore. Your sister will go with you tonight. We won't go home until we're drunk. Let's go. I've already booked a private room." Shen Tengning leaned against the car door with her head down, saying nothing. Su King looked at this scene and suddenly felt it was unfair. A beautiful person is here being melancholic. What is an ordinary-looking person like her supposed to do? How about I introduce you to a boyfriend? Didn't they say the best way to get over a breakup is to start a new relationship? Let's go. I'll call some handsome guys for you. Shen Tangning suddenly stopped and looked up at Su King. "What do you think they are doing now?" Su King clapped her hands once, consummating the marriage. "Of course, today could be." She stopped mid-sentence. She looked at Shen Tangning's dark face and hurriedly changed her words. "Of course, they could also be discussing a contract, for example. Xia Qianshui telling Zhang Haoming to transfer shares to her, Zhang Haoming telling Xia Qianshui to be with him, pretending to be a couple for a while. After everyone has forgotten, the two of them will secretly divorce." Shen Tangning, who was bowing her head, looked up again. "Are you telling the truth?" Su King said hurriedly. "That's how it always plays out on TV. Otherwise, how could Jiang Haoming just randomly pull someone to marry?" "What do you mean randomly pull someone to marry?" Gu Yueting walked over, looking at her two friends. She frowned. "I heard the wedding banquet is over. What happened? Did Jiang Haoming give the wedding banquet to someone else?" Shen Tangning gave her a cold glance, then lowered her head again. Su King smiled awkwardly. "No, that's not it. Although the wedding had a small incident, it went quite smoothly. Gu Yueting became more and more confused. How could it be smooth? I wasn't even there. Who did he marry? Shen Tangning laughed coldly. You know that you not being there put him in an awkward position? Gu Yueting? Is that something a human being would do? Gu Yueting was speechless. I had something urgent. Shen Tangning snorted coldly. Your urgent matter was Song Jingheng, right? Gu Yueting, you're really something? After speaking, Shen Tangning ignored Gu Yueting and got into her own car. Gu Yueting looked at Su King. What's wrong with her? Did she eat gunpowder? Su King patted Gu Yueting's shoulder. Gu Yueting, you really went too far this time, but well, you've been punished for it. After speaking, Su King also wanted to leave but was pulled back by Gu Yueting. Gu Yueting was very uneasy. Tell me clearly what exactly happened. Su King sighed. You ran away on the spot. Putting Jiang Haoming in an awkward position, he married someone else anyway. Go home and watch the news. The news should be out by now. The media was there today. Su King got into Shen Tangning's car and had just sat down when Shen Tangning stepped on the gas and sped off, completely ignoring Gu Yueting, who was stunned on the spot. Seeing this, Su King couldn't help but sigh softly. It seems their friendship of over 10 years can't continue anymore, but Su King also didn't expect that she and Gu Yueting had known each other for over 10 years, yet it seems she had never truly understood Gu Yueting. The things Gu Yueting did, she really couldn't accept them. Gu Yueting stood on the spot. Her mind was filled with Su King's words. Jiang Haoming has married someone else. Jiang Haoming has married someone else. Who did he marry? Today was clearly their wedding. Thinking of something, Gu Yueting hurriedly ran home. By the time she got home, it was an hour later, and at this time, the media had already reported about the wedding. When Gu Yueting walked through the door, the TV was broadcasting shocking news. Young genius artist changes bride at the wedding. What could be the reason? The young genius artist got married today, but the bride ran away on the spot. After the genius artist was abandoned, Gu Yueting stood in the living room, watching the images reported by the media. She was stunned. Mother Gu and Father Gu were sitting on the sofa watching the news, wanting to see if the media was slandering the Gu family, when they discovered their unfilial, uncontactable daughter had returned. Ba Gu was so angry he was fuming. He shot to his feet. What on earth are you doing? Gu Yueting lowered her head. Dad, I'm sorry. I had something to do today. Slap a stack of photos was thrown in Gu Yueting's face. Gu Yueting lowered her head and saw the pictures on the ground. Her face paled slightly. Ba Gu roared. Is this the matter you were talking about? How important is this matter? So important that you could abandon the husband who was in the middle of your wedding ceremony? To run off and do what? Was he on his deathbed and wanted to see you one last time? Or did he leave you hundreds of millions in assets for you to go and collect? Gu Yueting pursed her lips. She explained in a small voice, his mother is very sick. Is that your mother? Ba Gu became even angrier. Gu Yueting, is this how your mother and I raised you? Why were you in such a hurry? I'm afraid that if I were seriously ill one day, you wouldn't be in such a hurry. Dad. Gu Yueting looked at her father in disbelief. In your eyes, am I really that unfilial? Ba Gu laughed coldly. Do you still have the face to call me dad? Do you know the results of my annual health checkup? Do you know the results of your mother's health checkup? Do you know if there's anything wrong with the two of us? Gu Yueting was speechless. She really didn't know. Her parents seemed healthy, so she hadn't paid attention to these things. Her parents shook their heads in disappointment. But you go and find doctors for someone else. You're so anxious and worried about someone else's mother. When your mother was hospitalized, you didn't know. When someone else's mother is hospitalized, you are busy running around. Gu Yueting, whose daughter are you exactly? Gu Yueting lowered her head. She said nothing. She realized she had neglected her parents too much. Besides, why was she so worried about Song Jingsing's mother? She had clearly broken things off with Song Jingsing. Ba Gu closed his eyes, disappointed in Gu Yueting, and also disappointed in himself. He had spent over 30 years raising her, giving her the best education, the best conditions. And in the end, he had raised someone who was inhumane, unrighteous, and unfilial. He felt like a complete failure. The wedding is over. The Zhang family has been completely offended. Don't go looking for Jiang Haoming anymore. As for this man, don't even think about bringing him into the Gu family home. I will not agree to it. If you insist on marrying him, then just sever ties with us. Dad, don't call me Dad. Ba Gu glanced at Gu Yueting. Tomorrow, there might be some bad press about the company. You should go to the company. Gu Yueting's lips trembled. Jiang Haoming, I will beg for his forgiveness. Dad, don't be angry. Ba Gu looked at his daughter, his eyes filled with incomprehension. Where on earth do you get the nerve to say such things? Gu Yueting pursed her lips. Her face alternated between pale and ashen. Ba Gu sighed. They were right. You really don't deserve Jiang Haoming. After saying that, Ba Gu turned and went upstairs. At this moment, Mei Gu also coughed dryly a few times. Then she looked at Gu Yueting. You've gone too far this time. Your parents didn't force you into this wedding. You were the one who wanted to get married, and this is how it turned out. When you were little, I told you, you must be a person of your word, the way you are now. Who would dare to do business with you in the future? Gu Yueting stood where she was, not knowing what to say. Mei Gu sighed. Well, just handle the company's affairs well for the next few days. As for that man, settle things with him. Mei Gu also went upstairs. Gu Yueting stood rooted to the spot. The TV was still broadcasting news about my wedding. A long time later. Early the next morning. When Gu Yueting discovered the bride had been swapped for Xia Qianshui, She drove to Xia Qianshui's residence. Seeing the festive decorations outside the villa, Gu Yueting almost couldn't stop herself from rushing in, but she held back. Her upbringing wouldn't allow her to do that. She was also afraid that once inside she would see a scene she didn't want to see. Xia Qianshui came out first. From the looks of it, she was probably heading to work, but Gu Yueting could see that she was extremely happy. "Auntie, what you did was not very appropriate." Xia Qianshui saw Gu Yueting and raised an eyebrow. "I thought you'd run away from the wedding and never come back, so why?" Gu Yueting suddenly grabbed Xia Qianshui by the collar. "What right do you have to mock me? He's my boyfriend. He's my fiancé. He's my husband," Xia Qianshui smirked. "You're wrong. He's my husband." As she spoke, Xia Qianshui pried Gu Yueting's hands off. Then she casually tilted her head, straightening her disheveled collar, casually revealing a hickey on her neck. When Gu Yueting saw this, her eyes turned bloodshot. "We just had a small misunderstanding. I just need to explain it clearly to him." With that, Gu Yueting tried to rush inside. Xia Qianshui grabbed her, then pushed her forward, blocking her. "Gu Yueting, grow up. The moment you ran away, you should have understood that. You had made your choice. When you left him alone at the altar, you no longer had the right. What gives you the confidence to think that he would forgive you?" Gu Yueting froze on the spot, looking at the door not far away. She couldn't accept it. She just couldn't accept it, hearing the commotion outside. "I changed into some loungewear and came out. Weren't you heading to work? Why haven't you left yet?" Xia Qianshui heard my voice. She frowned slightly. She didn't want me to see Gu Yueting. After all, Gu Yueting and I had feelings for each other for several years. I saw Gu Yueting and frowned slightly. Gu Yueting saw me. She rushed to come forward, with quick reflexes. Xia Qianshui pulled the waist-high garden gate shut, locking Gu Yueting outside. I laughed, giving Xia Qianshui an appreciative look. As expected of my wife, well done. Xia Qianshui looked smug, while Gu Yueting's face turned pale. "I can explain. I'm tired of this, you explain. I won't listen game." I cleaned out my ear, leaning against the door ungracefully. My eyelids drooped as I looked at Gu Yueting. "I don't need an explanation. I already told your mother. I asked her to pass the message to you. Don't come looking for me anymore." "It seems your mother didn't pass on the message very well," Gu Yueting said heartbrokenly. "Jiang Haoming, it's been 7 years for us. It's been 7 years. How have you managed to regress so much? No responsibility, no accountability. You've even learned to keep a lover and have an affair. Gu Yueting, I'm really starting to wonder. What on earth did I see in you in the first place?" Gu Yueting was stunned. She looked at me in disbelief. I stared back at her without a hint of weakness. My eyes were a little cold. "Gu Yueting, don't come looking for me anymore. I find you filthy." Gu Yueting took a step back, almost losing her footing. It seemed she had never seen my true colors. Or rather, it was as if she never really knew me at all. I leaned against the door, a little tired. I said impatiently, "Gu Yueting, no one is a fool. I said I would give you one chance." Xia Qianshui's heart tightened, her hand gripping the railing tightened. "But you've already used up that chance. What I promised, I delivered. In your final moment, in that moment of opportunity, you chose that man. So what face do you have to come looking for me?" Gu Yueting's face was ashen. She didn't know what she could say. I couldn't be bothered to say more. I looked at Xia Qianshui. "If you're going to work, hurry up. Remember to have a word with management. Don't let anyone in. It'll disturb my rest." Xia Qianshui replied with a smile. "You just get some good rest. I'll come pick you up for lunch at noon. Then we'll go move your luggage." I thought for a moment. There isn't anything important. Let's go shopping and buy some new things. Xia Qianshui nodded. "We'll listen to you." I was pleased. I kissed her on the cheek. Then I turned around, waving as I walked back inside, watching the door close. Xia Qianshui then turned her head, warning Gu Yueting in a low voice. "Don't come here again, or I won't let you off easy." Xia Qianshui arrived at the company. She noticed everyone's gazes were rather strange. As soon as she got to her office, she called for her assistant. "Did something happen at the company today?" "No, sir." The assistant was confused. Meeting the boss's eyes, he suddenly remembered. If the Gu family dares to slander the big boss, immediately release all their past scandals. Xia Qianshui was satisfied. She took a red envelope from her bag and pushed it in front of him. Her eyes held a hint of pride. "Your big boss is rewarding you." The assistant's eyes lit up. He put away the red envelope. His hand unconsciously felt its thickness. The corners of his mouth split into a wide grin. "Thank you, boss. Thank you, big boss." Xia Qianshui returned at noon. She took me out to eat. After eating, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I was stunned and tilted my head to look at her. Seeing this, Xia Qianshui smirked. "What? Are you planning to be irresponsible again?" Sensing Xia Qianshui's resentment, I chuckled. "I just wanted to say, I didn't bring my ID card and my household registration book." Xia Qianshui gave a mysterious smile, taking the household registration book and ID card from her bag. "I brought them." I raised my eyebrow. "Why would my household registration book be with Xia Qianshui?" Xia Qianshui saw the look on my face, smiling. "Your mother gave them to me.